Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, welcome in. Good to see y'all. We are here. We are live. Welcome on to day 2. Y'all made it back. You came. Give me a hello in the chat. Let's make sure this thing's working. Say what's up. Ernie, good to see you. Doug, Adam, good to see you. Sam, good to see you. Matt, hello. Jonathan, good to see y'all. Okay, I entered a poll. I think the poll's still live. It says, what industry are you in or maybe interested in? We got real estate, private equity, hedge funds, venture capital, private credit, or other. Definition, real quick: private equity, you're buying businesses. Hedge funds, you're trading. So you're trading options, bonds, commodities, crypto. Venture capital, you're investing into early stage startups. Private credit, you're making loans. You're lending things out. So hit that real quick. I'll give you about 10 more seconds. We're going to get going fast today. I've got a big agenda. We got some guests coming on live today. It's going to be a very, very fun day. Welcome in. Good to see y'all. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hit that poll. I'm going to publish the results here. There you go. 41% of you in real estate, 15% in private equity, 12 in hedge funds, 8 in venture capital, 4 in private credit, and then 21 in other. Really cool. I love it. This is great. Well, good to be back. Good to be back. Let's open things up. Let's kind of review what we did yesterday, and then we'll dive in. I'll kind of walk through the agenda today. I'm going to get going faster because we got a bunch of guests coming on live. We got Dr. Ben Hardy coming on from a previous event we had with him, and then we have live coming on. We have Dan Pearson and Dustin Gomez, and also Alexis Morgan coming on later, and I'll explain what they're going to be talking about today, but all around single asset funds. As I'm pulling this up, well, let me do this. I'm going to share the slides, and then I'm going to ask you the question: what was your biggest aha or takeaway from yesterday? And then we're going to dive in. Sound good? So share my screen. Thank you very much. So single asset fund challenge. Here we are. So yesterday we talked about all these people that are online. They all teach different things, but all of them are running funds. Grant Cardone, Cody Sanchez, Pace Morby, Ty Lopez, people like Alex Hormozy, all running funds. This is actually a picture of me and Alex. I was trying to flex very, very hard right there in that picture. There we go. Trying to look good in front of Alex and Layla. Russell Brunson, this is us meeting with Russell a few months ago. He's been buying business like crazy, doing private equity. Same with Alex and Layla. So we see a lot of these people going on this path of, self-funded. Then next would be single asset funds, and then to a full out fund. This is the path of pretty much every successful entrepreneur you can see out there follows this path. And I'm talking the billionaire realm, not millionaire, but billionaire realm follow this path. We talked about the differences, and maybe move my picture there. Syndicate between single asset funds. Syndicates are more LLC or SPVs. Oftentimes they're unclear. It means to combine something. We're using the vernacular of single asset funds with a GP-LP structure. We talked about this concept of, if you're raising money with this is what I would not do: raise money in an LLC. You pull together partners like this under an operating agreement. The problems with it, you can do this. I'm sure some of you guys have been in deals like this. The problem, though, with a deal like this is you have, number one, it's a little bit hairy with compliance. These people are not investors. They are partners, okay? And they have to act like partners. And because they are partners, and I'll make that difference. If they're investors, if they're passive investors in an LLC like this, you're now selling a security, and you need to go register that security with the SEC, which a lot of people don't do. So they make them partners. Because they're partners, they're partners. They can nudge you around. If this person right here forgot to pay their taxes last year and they need to sell the property right away, you know what? We got to sell it. And you're like, dude, we're mid rehab. We can't sell. He goes, dude, I got an IRS judgment against me. You need to sell the property right now. If you're in an LLC or an SPV syndicate like this, they can pull some strings. They can sue people. They can sue the other partners. They can really cause some headaches for you. And lawsuits are way more prevalent in this type of structure. That's why I wouldn't do it. You can do it, but that's why I wouldn't do it. That's why I tell most people that I would do more of a single asset fund. This would be following I'll compare the two here. Syndicate SPV is combining capital for a deal. All right, we already mentioned this. Clear and unclear here. So I would use the GP-LP structure where you have a limited partnership. You have limited partners that come in. General partner, that's you and your team. You go buy the investments. You have an LPA and PPM that manages this, and a management company. This separates liability, helps make it way more clean. It's structured, it's buttoned up, it's done the right way. I'm all about being above board, being buttoned up. If you're in the game of raising capital, make sure it's buttoned up. Now, for a long time, this type of structure was much more expensive than an LLC or an SPV. over the last few years, this has gotten way cheaper, and you actually can do them for a similar price, which is pretty cool. That's why I'm like, if it's the same price either way, like do the buttoned up model. Because in this scenario, in that same example, if someone didn't pay a tax, but one of your investors didn't pay a tax bill and they need you to sell the property, you say, sorry, my fiduciary responsibility is to do what's best for the fund. I don't serve individual investors. I do what's best for the fund. And these other investors are all involved here, and we're doing what's best for the fund. And what's best for the fund right now is to not sell the property. We're mid rehab. We're trying to do all these things. We're going to sell it in 8 to 12 months because we're going to get a better return for X, Y, and Z reason. It protects you like crazy. This is why 99% of private capital in the world is raised through this structure right here. Furthermore, this is a structure that can scale. You'll make this a management company, and as you launch your second deal, your third deal, you'll use the same management company with a track record behind it. And you can now build a track record that you could use to go and launch obviously more deals, but then eventually go and build out your full fund. Is that kind of making sense? Yeah. So, chat, good review from yesterday. And then we had a few guests on yesterday. It was great. We had Oren Claff on yesterday. He was pretty fun. Or he was in 1,000 directions, but it was great. It was fun to talk to him about capital raising, author of Flip the Script and Pitch Anything, 2 of my favorite books of all time. He did a great job yesterday. It was fun having him on. In the chat, if you can, and I invited you guys yesterday, I'll say this again. You know, if you just sit there and listen, you'll remember 0% long-term. If you write things down and take notes, psychologists tell us you remember about 3 to 5% long-term. If you actually use your body, your voice, you participate, you'll remember 15 to 17% long-term. So I'm going to ask you to participate, put stuff in the chat. It's, you know, it's fun at whatever, but it actually helps you engage and to remember the stuff. Your time is very valuable on these calls. So I want to make sure you remember stuff. Sound good? In the chat, if you can, type in what was the most valuable piece or nugget that you took away from yesterday. I'm actually curious. What was something that was like an aha or something that was like, oh, that stood out to me? I'll pull up the chat here. Investor versus partner. Yeah, that's huge. Define, you've probably seen a few deals where you were pitched to come in on an SPV. Speed and cost to market. The structure itself. I should have been there. Yeah, if you missed yesterday, you missed out. But we'll keep going today. Today should be awesome. SAF for syndications, benefits of the GPLP structure, learning from Oren Claff on capital raising. Yeah, it was awesome. SPVs can be a legal risk. It's possible to have a fund. Like you could actually do it. Like someone like you could actually go do this. It's a stepping stone to get into the full bigger fund. The management structure of how to actually now have a track record behind the deals that you're doing. Not raising money, but leveling up the quality of your limited partners. Yeah, that was from Oren Claff yesterday. That was great. The hot seat was eye-opening. Yeah, we brought on, I didn't even mention that. We brought on Lindsay and Sean. They talked about their deal. We did a full deep dive on their deal. They're doing a real estate deal in California right now. We talked about all the aspects of their deal, who they're going to raise money from. We went through some concerns with there. It was pretty fun. Doesn't need to be a large asset. You can do this for just, you know, a couple $100,000. That's totally normal and happens all the time in a single asset fund. Limited partnership, essentially own the investments, pitch to investors. I love it. Well, good job, y'all. All right, you guys ready for today? Let me dive into today. So let me pull out the slides. Real quick, if you missed yesterday, just briefly of who I am. This is going to take 20 seconds, but this is my beautiful family. I love family. Family is everything. Anyways, I could talk about family forever. My wife's phenomenal. We grew up on the same street together, 7 doors down, and we got 2 kids right now. It's phenomenal. I ran 2 funds through Blackbridge Holdings, and then I sold those to a competitor. I run fund launch as well. We have 100,000 plus members. It's been really amazing. We help people now launch funds. My dad, you heard my dad's story yesterday. My dad co-founded a $28 billion family of funds. My brother is an investment funds attorney at the largest law firm in the world, was and just left, and now is running his own fund as well. Currently, I run 2 investment funds, $25 million hedge fund, crypto blockchain investment fund called Ugly Unicorn. And then we just closed roughly a $30 million raise for Fund Launch Partners. We're actually investing into our favorite funds out of Fund Launch. We've had some phenomenal funds come out of Fund Launch. Last year, we reviewed 1,200 Fund Ones out of Fund Launch. And we did 6 deals. Isn't that crazy? The amount of funds, like the volume, which is just wild. Did 6 deals. Average commitment was about $1 million per deal that we're committing to these funds. We want to do another 19 deals here in the next 24 months, roughly. So we're going to be putting about an average commitment, about $1 million per commitment into the deal. And so some of you on this call might be people that we're going to be talking to in the near future, and maybe we'll even, look at partnering with you through Fund Launch Partners. Sound good? Okay. This is us. You can go find us online and see all of our cool stuff. These are our events that we've done. All right. Yesterday, we talked about this as well, bridging this gap. So let's talk about today. Agenda for today. Number one, we're going to call on some deals live. In about 3 minutes, I'm going to pull up, we're going to call, I don't have them pre-organized. We're going to do it live together. We're going to look at deals and actually call on stuff and actually start making this tangible. Does that sound fun? Give me a yes in the chat if that sounds fun. It's coming up the wrong order. We got Dr. Ben Hardy. He's coming on to talk about 10X is easier than 2X. And there they all are. We got 3 guests coming on live to discuss their single asset funds. We then have Dr. Ben Hardy coming on. 10X, he's the author of 10X is easier than 2X. And then we're going to talk about the new way entrepreneurs are launching their SAF funds through this new model, the fund launch formula. Sound like a decent plan for today? This is going to be fast, going to be furious. So the people coming on today, we got Alexis Morgan. Right now he's 20 years old. I believe to date has pulled together $15 million, is lending money right now. She's awesome. She spoke this is us last week at our Dallas event. She's one of our members of Black Card that I wanted to highlight and bring on today. So she's going to be coming on later today. We also have Dan and Dustin. Here they are. So did I put those two? I mixed these up. The faces are on the opposite names here. We got Dan Pearson and his faces over here. But anyways, they're going to be coming on in a minute and talking about these guys are phenomenal. So Dan, who's cross picture here, we're putting stuff together. This is a live call. All right, people, give me some, we got a lot of content here, a lot of slides. I messed this one up. So we got Dan. Dan is phenomenal at private equity. Actually, he's a private equity broker, runs his own fund, was a member of Black Card and Fund Launch, then became a coach in Black Card as well, and now does his own deals, runs his own fund, is phenomenal. He's going to come talk all about private equity or buying small businesses. We're also going to bring on Dustin Gomez at the same time. Cross here, you can see them there. Dustin's phenomenal at real estate. This dude, you guys are going to get to love these two in just a few minutes when we bring them on. But he talks all about real estate, structuring deals, runs his own fund as well, and has done a lot of single asset funds in the past. Same with, so Dan and Dustin both have done a lot of single asset funds and now transitioned to full out funds. And they're in the game right now. Both are raising capital. Both are doing deals. It's cool to hear from people that are actively doing stuff. Sound cool? Then we got Dr. Ben Hardy coming on, author of these books. And we're going to share a clip from a speech he did at Fund Launch Live last year that I thought was phenomenal. Actually, it really changed the way I thought about my life and what I'm doing. Sound good? Okay. Let's do it. Now, last thing before we get going. Yesterday, we gave away some money. Today is no different. We're going to give away some money. We'll make it fun in the chat to incentivize a little participation because I want your time to be very valuable. Let's do this. Type let's get going in the chat. I know it's cheesy. I know it's fun, but I just want to get a little things. Type in let's get going in the chat, and I'm going to pick somebody for $100 to Amazon. So let's do this. And to make it totally transparent, you can share my screen. It's going to go infinity screen, but you're going to see the chat here. Ready? 5, 4. Yeah, share it for me. 3. I'm just going to pick somebody random. 2, 1. Dan. That's where my cursor ended. I don't know who Dan is, but Dan. You got $100 coming your way, Dan. So do this, Dan, if you can. Send us a message at bridger@fundlaunch.com. We'll send you $100 to Amazon. Boom, we're already giving away money. All right, Dan. There we go. All right, let's hop in. Let's call on some deals live. You guys cool with this? So you might be sitting there. Anybody, in the chat, anybody not have a deal right now? And or you're looking at deals. Maybe type a 1 in the chat. Type a 1 if you've never done a deal before. Type a 2 in the chat if you've maybe done a deal before. Type a 3 in the chat if you are actively have a deal and you're looking at a deal. Okay, so 1 is I'm brand new. 2 is like I've done deals in the past. Number 3 is like I'm actively doing deals right now. Okay, good mix. For people that are doing deals, I'm about to pull up. We're actually going to call a few brokers and do some deals live here. Maybe share my screen for a second. The best deals are done with a mix of seller finance, debt, and equity. Okay, the best deals are done with a mix of seller finance, debt, and equity. There are some people online that just teach debt or just teach seller finance or just teach equity. And what we found is the best deals are done with a mix. And this is a quote from a really successful, amazing person. You guys should all, which is me. This is my quote, okay? But here it is. Here's a mix of debt, equity, and seller finance, okay? The best deals are done with a mix of these things, meaning debt would be a bank loan, an SBA loan, hard money loan, whatever. Equity would be like investors that you're bringing in. Seller finance would be like the actual person you're buying the deal from. They finance the deal and you do this kind of creative finance thing. Some people though, I think miss out on deals because all they do is just do seller finance. And if someone they call them up, hey, do you guys do creative finance? No. Okay, hang up. I'm gonna call the next person. Do you guys do creative finance? No. Okay, I'll call the next person. And they miss out on some amazing deals because they weren't actually more creative on adding equity and or debt to those deals. Same thing's true with people that love debt. All they do is debt. Sometimes they miss out because they don't add equity to the deal and or seller finance. Is that kind of making sense? Now, this is my quote, but I'll pull some actually legit people on their quotes, okay? Leverage is a powerful tool, but it's the structure of the deal that determines success. This is Henry Kravis, co-founder of KKR, one of the largest private equity firms on earth, talking about this same concept. $12 billion net worth from this person. Okay. Think he knows a thing or two about deals? Yeah. This is Barbara from Shark Tank. The best real estate deals are the ones where you get the seller to work with you, whether it's financing or term. So she, leans in more to seller finance. Okay. Net worth of about $100 million. This is Steven Schwartzman in private equity. The key is to structure deals where the risk is mitigated by the right mix of capital and leverage. Okay. $41 billion net worth. This guy owns everything. If you want to know who owns the world, Blackstone is who owns it. He's doing a mix of all of these things when he structures good deals, okay? So the best deals are a mix of seller finance, equity, and debt. So we're going to go, let's pull up a few deals and actually look at some of these deals and do some deals live. Does that sound like a plan? Is that all right with y'all? All right, I'm just going to share my screen here. I'm just going to go, we're going to do a little simple. We don't have all the time in the world today, but we're going to go very simply. There's businesses for sale all around you. Okay. Biz Buy Sell is one of the listings. There's a ton of them. Empire Flippers, there's a ton. This is for buying businesses. There's also obviously real estate more prevalent, but I wanted to show a business today just to, maybe break the ice for some of you people that put a number 1 and or a 2 and or a 3 to look at deals and see what's going on. Sound good? So let's look through here. We got some, again, we're going to see the the surface level things of some of these deals. But I came in, I think I filtered on this one. I filtered for deals under $500,000. We're looking at, smaller deals right here. A little more bite-sized. Oren talked about doing a bite-sized chunk here first. So let's just scroll through here. You could buy a package 2 deal, Open Body 20 Fitness. I put them in Utah. I live in Utah. Interesting. Own your own farm and ranch lending business. That's interesting. Let's look at this. Hold on. I got chickens. Popular ag finance. Oh, so they're lending. Interesting. Industry vetting. Okay. This is kind of fun, by the way. You just come through turnkey repo tow business. Looking for a business with consistent cash flow and room to grow. The highly profitable retail. 75-year net cash flow. It's not bad. Operating at just 30% truck. Includes 2-year contracts with 3 dealerships. Finance company guaranteeing $300,000 annual revenue. Massive growth potential by scaling operations and utilizing untapped truck capacity. Well-established reputation. Act now. Huh. You guys want to call on this one? I don't know. What do you guys think? We'll vote together. Does this sound like a good one? See my chat? Anybody? Bueller? I don't know. We can do this one. I also found 2 other ones. This is an indoor 4-bay indoor golf club, or we could call on this established franchised hair salon. I don't know. Anyone look good? Let's try this. Cash flowing 75,000. They only want 150 grand. Interesting. Gross revenue is 125. There's no EBITDA, no FF&E. Well, let's do this actually. This is a little pro tip. This is something that's new. Let's open up Chat GPT and let's look at this one. Something you guys can totally do right now. I'm doing this live. You can say, I'm looking at buying this business. What questions should I ask? What risks would be involved? I don't know. Let's just see what it says. So I popped the link in here. We'll give this a second as we read through. Act now to own this cash flowing gem. Can be sold. Truck is not included in sales price. Oh, interesting. Can be sold. Transfer your name. $95,000 owned. Okay. So you got to buy the truck too. Only $35,000. What does the sale include? So this is some of the questions we could ask. You know what? Let's do this one. Any golfers in here? Let's try another chat. looking to buy this business. I'll just say, what questions should I ask? All right, looking at a 4-bay indoor golf club, average of 5 hours a work week. They're asking for just under $500,000. They say they cash flow this amount. Serving local, we generate $250K in annual revenue, net profit. Most of our members are on long-term plans, giving the business a strong fundamental. Operations are streamlined, no full-time employees, low labor costs, all systems. Huh. All right, let's do it. Let's call this guy. All right, there's our number. This is listed by Lawson. Let's give Lawson a call. What do you guys think? Let's just see if he answers. I don't know. Lawson should be working today, right? This is not pre-organized, by the way. I have no idea. I've never talked to Lawson before. I don't know. Let's give him a call. You guys ready? Can you hear my speaker? Come on, Lawson. So if we're looking here, and they want $500,000, there's no, like, I'm guessing it's one of those, people just come, they key in, key out. You're buying these. The one question I'd have is about cannibalization. Has been forwarded to voicemail. Come on, Lawson. Losing out on money over here. All right, let's try this truck business. Why not? Let's see what they're doing. All right, we're calling Jonathan here. So the purpose of the call, before someone answers, I'm number one, the data is pretty limited here. Okay. And so you could go through some of these questions that you could ask for someone, let's walk through competition. Why can't I just go open my own business? I'm buying a truck from them. Why don't I just go, what's proprietary about this business, right? Furthermore, they have no numbers on EBITDA. I just have gross revenue. So what's EBITDA or what's margin on this business? How is it? Do I have to work the business like crazy? What's stopping it from growing? Is it just marketing? Is it connections? Is it what are things that are holding us back? So let's see what Jonathan says here. Let's see if Jonathan answers.
Please leave your message for 71470.
Type it in, right?
2079.
All right, let's try them one more time. I went straight to voicemail here.
Hello.
Hey, is this Jonathan?
This is.
Jonathan, I'm calling about a turnkey repo tow business you got listed in Draper, Utah. Are you the right number on this?
That is correct.
Well, good morning. You got a minute to talk?
Give me 1 second.
Well, yeah, I found your listing, and I'm a business owner right now. I'm looking to maybe expand it to some other businesses. I had a few questions for you. So I see asking price, gross revenue 125, EBITDA. And I'll just be transparent with you. I've never ran a towing business before. It looked interesting to me though, something I could step into. I have a decent background in marketing, sales, connections, things like that. So I was, I'm giving you some data here. Maybe you could tell me if this is something that I could value add to, but maybe give me the story on the business right now. Why are they selling? And then maybe what's stopping it from growing.
Yeah, perfect. So we started it. So my partner owns a finance company and 3 dealerships across the Wasatch Front. So they wanted to go in-house. He's also he's been the keynote speaker at the Buy Here Pay Here convention, so he's really connected as far as the repo business goes. But we started to kind of give him an in-house option because he was paying way too much or whatever. There came a point where we were getting other contracts. We got Mountain America, we got a few other contracts. It was just full disclosure, honestly, I didn't want to scale it because I was the one operating it at the time, and we only had 1 truck, and I was operating it. And
you're the one. You're the driver. You're the one you're the one repoing cars.
Exactly.
Oh dang. Okay, so you know it pretty well. Yeah. Yeah.
was like, well, I should probably learn it if I'm going to hire guys and scale up, right? But I know what I'm talking about. The reality was like I also owned a different business, and that business started to take off, and I just couldn't put the time into it.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
So you guys are offloading this, it sounds like. Truck's not included, at least on this asking price. Is that right?
Correct.
So what's justifying the 150 asking price? Is it the connections? Is it the relationships, contracts? Like, what is it?
They're already in place. There's going to be 4 different contracts currently that come with it. 2 with 2 different dealerships, one with a finance company, and then one with another finance company who's just getting into. They're actually a private equity firm out of California. They are starting to buy up a bunch of accounts here in Utah, and they're they're going to have to repossess these vehicles. They bought like something like $8 million from my partner. They're buying, they're on the track to buy another 15 to 20 million in the next few months from different finance companies across here, especially like low book sales, things like that.
Yeah.
And they have zero. They have, he said, hey, I got the perfect,
Are these
person. They don't know. They have zero connections around here. So
are these exclusive contracts, or can they just find someone new at any time?
No, they're exclusive. You have first right of refusal.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
how that works.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
like, if there came a point where
And-
you're like, hey, I can't get that one, they're like, no problem.
They got a backup. Yeah.
It's on the list.
And how long are those contracts good for?
2 years each.
2 years. Okay. So if I was to summarize, and just we're obviously just quick here, we're just talking, but the asking price of 150 really is I'm buying 4 contracts with first right of refusal for, essentially client flow from these groups. And then if I want to, I could buy the truck as well for, I think you had another 95 grand. But is that I guess a summary of what you're selling here essentially?
Absolutely. That's a great summary. Yeah.
Cool. And then it doesn't sound like, but any the operation side of the business, it sounds like it was just you and your partner. Are there any employees, any structure, any internal structure, I guess, in the business?
No, not necessarily. I mean, there's he had employees that I was working with as far as the heads of their recovery center and stuff like that, but they didn't technically work for me, so no employees.
Gotcha. Okay. And is this last year you guys did 75,000 of 125 of gross, and then you netted 75? Is that based off last year or?
Yeah, exactly. Last year, 2024. I mean, it's roughly I can't remember, more than 50% EBITDA, but it's like, again, I passed up on probably 200K at least in revenue.
Because you just didn't. Why didn't you hire somebody to just help you pay a driver?
Started right, and that was like so with some companies, especially Rico, they have to go through background checks. You have to get a contract with BCI and do all that. And I mean, there's some rough ones.
So it was actually hard finding a good person. So you tried to find someone, but it was hard to find them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That was going to be reliable, especially because we had, with most guys that I've run into,
yeah,
the rougher crowd, right? So it's not.
Yeah, interesting.
With the finance people out.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, great. Just quick introductory call. This is awesome. Final question for you, I guess. On the 150, are you guys open to a seller finance? Are you open to, how firm are you on that price? Where are you guys at?
So we've been offered a bunch of seller finances. The only way we would do seller finance is if it was at the asking price, but if not, it's negotiable.
Okay. Well, good to know. Well, let me talk with my team, and I'll save your number here, and I'll get back to you if we're interested.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. Thank you. Well, there you go. That was kind of fun. How do we do? I went a little bit. Well, actually, first question, just off of that, go or no go in the chat. Would you follow up with that deal, or what would you say? Go or no go? No go, pass, no. Yeah, I kind of agreed, right? I mean, you really, what it came down to, I'm buying contracts, which I think is a good question. Like, ask, what am I actually buying? And we got down to it sounded like you're buying a contract between 4 vendors. That's it. And okay, and you're valuing that at $150,000. Yes. Okay. I would probably pass. A little sketchy with the employees as well, and maybe I don't want to be in the repo business. Now, that being said, though, I hope that showed you a little bit. It's not scary to call people. Furthermore, people will just tell you stuff. If you notice at the beginning of the call, I was said, hey, I'm a business owner. I'm looking to maybe expand my portfolio. Totally all true things. I'm looking to put together a deal. And maybe I was thinking about being, in the trucking business. And I told him up front, what did I tell him? Just to be transparent, I've never owned a trucking business before, a towing company like this, but it looked interesting to me. I'm all about, some people try to posture and frankly lie. I'm all about being honest and saying, hey, I'm ignorant in this business. Tell me the ins and outs of this business. Now, let's just go with me for a second. Let's say I did want to be in the towing truck business. I just learned some valuable things from that call. On the next call, so I could go find another towing company, I would know a little bit more. Hey, walk me through your employee base. Probably one of the first questions I'd ask. Hey, how do you find employees? Who's running the trucks? How do you background check them? Because I learned that from the first call. And I'll probably learn a few more things on the second call, the third call, the fourth call. This is how you can train yourself to get better at just underwriting and looking at deals. You see a lot of people, they'll say, we look at 100 deals before we do one. I think you should do 100 phone calls before you, even get to the finish line on one of these deals. What else would you guys say on this? What other questions would you have asked? Oh, maybe put me back just because we're going infinite screen. What other questions should I have asked? What did I miss out on? What do you guys think? Give me some feedback here. Yeah, he skated around. It seemed like he was hiding something. Yeah, the contract time and value isn't good enough. 300K a year. I know. Yeah, he was saying, yeah, I could have done 200, 250. Maybe that's true. We could have dug into the financials. I own a semi-truck company. It's not easy to get drivers. Yeah, it seems like it. Are the contracts assignable? Yeah, that's a good question. Very good question. Ask about gross margins. We really didn't get into that at all. We didn't have numbers. And I'll just say this, a lot of times on this group, they want you to sign an NDA and then they'll send numbers over. Totally normal practice. And that's something you could do if you wanted to go the next step. But oftentimes I just say, hey, give me rough numbers, right? Give me the rough gross, which I could have asked for. I didn't ask for. Future worker funnel. Didn't get any deception from that. He seemed like a pretty straightforward guy. Like he told us the real. What's the state registration difficulty? That'd be a good question. Yeah. How, do you have to file with a certain agency in Utah? How does the registration work? I love it. Let's pull back. Let's open back up here. Wow, we're already at 11:33. I know Dan and actually let's do this. Let's bring on Dan and Dustin. So pull up my slides here. Dan and Dustin, let's see, hold on. Let's see if the slides work here. Dan and Dustin are amazing at this game. So Dan and Dustin, we'll bring them on here in a second. Before I get to that, I'm going to briefly share, and I'm going to bring them on live, so maybe cue them up in the background, the fund launch formula. I've now talked to hundreds of fund managers, and we have a very distinct formula of how we walk people through the process of building funds. So next step, though, let's say I liked that deal or one of these deals that I was looking at. Maybe we'll call another one here in a minute. This is what we found has been the most successful way to do single asset funds or full out funds. Because most people, when they talk to me on a call or whatever, everyone goes, Bridger, okay, I found this towing business. How do I get the legal done? Like the first question I get every single time, you can make me full screen if you want, is like, Bridger, give me the lawyers. Lawyers, let's get going. And I always go, hold on, pump the brakes, quick. Before we get to legal, have you done all the initial process? Do we even know if this is a deal that can be funded, that you can raise capital for? Because it's funny, the most funds never launch. And I'm the fund guy. I'm the fund launch guy. Most funds never launch. I can't tell you how many funds. Someone has a cool idea. We're going to go buy this business. Yeah, call the lawyers up. Okay, we'll pay them $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. Great, write them a check. They build expensive legal documents. And then over the next few weeks, they figure out that, oh crap, this deal doesn't work out. Investors don't like the deal. There's some kind of problem. So what we do is we do the exact opposite. When we talk about the fund launch formula, what we found, and actually I interviewed hundreds of fund managers and actually found how entrepreneurs, how people like us launch funds, is they do it actually the exact opposite. Legal is one of the last steps you do. So if I pull this open, I'm going pretty quick here. Some of you guys heard this before, but step one, share my screen for me. Step one, we're going to focus on the deal and strategy like we just did. How do we find asymmetrical risk, which is a fancy way of saying relatively low risk for high return? I'm trying to figure out how do I minimize my risks for the return profile that we have on a trucking business. Number two, let's say I figure that out. Okay, now I'm going to frame out and structure the deal. At the end there, we talked about, am I going to use seller finance, debt, equity, and how are these people going to get paid? If I bring in an equity investor or a debt investor, seller finance, I'm going to structure it and think through it all right here in the frame and structure phase. And then I'm actually going to go out and see if I can get verbal commitments on this capital. So I'm going to, let's say this towing company, we like the deal. We didn't like it today, but let's just pretend we liked it. We like the deal. I then go frame out, okay, I'm going to bring in, $50,000 of debt from a SBA loan. And then I'm going to raise another $100,000 from equity investors. I'm going to pull those together and that's how we frame out the deal. And everyone's going to get paid, a certain, pref or waterfall based on that. And then I'm actually going to go and see if I can soft raise some of this capital. I'm going to call up, the 3 F's, friends, family, and fools, or people that I really trust, say, hey, I've looked at 100 deals. I found this one that I think is phenomenal. Now, before I go any further, yesterday we saw this quote, and I'm going to say it again. If you ask for money, you generally get advice. If you ask for advice, you generally get money. In this phase, I would go ask for advice. Find people that you or mentors are in your space and say, hey, I've looked at 100 deals. I found this one that I really love. Do you have 10 minutes to look over the deal and tell me if my assumptions are correct, if I really do have asymmetric, do you have 7 minutes just to look over this thing? And I know you're really smart, can poke holes in it and see if I really should go forward with this. Again, I'll say it. When you ask for advice, you generally get money. When you ask for money, you generally get advice. Ask for advice. Find mentors, people around you, and see if they can poke holes in it. And number one, so you get good outcomes. The first outcome, they poke holes in it. Your deal sucks. It's not good. They're going to tell you all the reasons why. Or number two, they're going to go, dang, this is actually a pretty good deal. Are you actually doing this? Well, yeah, we're looking at putting together, we're looking for people, you know what? If this actually comes to life, give me a call. I might be interested. That's how you start building a circle of people around you. You follow along? Yeah? Give me like a yes in the chat if that's making a little bit of sense. So if I go back to my slides here, deal, and I do this in a loop because not every deal is going to work. You're going to hit this and say, it doesn't work. We got to go back to the drawing board. You're going to go over and over and again to make this make sense for the goal of getting validation. You're validating the deal is good, the frame is good, and you're validating that with real verbal commitments from people that actually want to put money in your deal. Does that make sense? Once you cross this barrier of validation, then we go to the legal formation stage. And to be frank, for me, that's the easiest part. We're going to set up the entities, the legal, the GPLP. We're going to get it all structured, make sure it's buttoned up. It's going to be compliant. We're then going to go and launch the fund. Okay, you're going to launch your single asset fund. Boom, capital. You're going to then, talking too fast here. Validation, we legal, we then launch. Fund is now live. We're going to then go back to the capital and do our first close on the capital. We're going to bring the capital in. We're going to, asset management is just running the deal, on a deal by deal basis. This would be, okay, now we're buying the trucking company, right? We're going to run it. We got to hire employees. We got to run the whole thing. And then we're going to continue to build our firm. You're going to do this forever. By the way, you're going to go keep raising capital on your next deal. You're going to keep building your firm. You're going to keep doing asset management, acquiring, disposing of properties or deals. This is what we call the fund launch formula. On the left here, we have maybe move our screen. On the left, we have the fund launch side. On the right, we have the fund management side. And we call this whole thing the fund launch formula. Isn't that kind of cool? We've helped now hundreds and hundreds of people go through this fund launch formula. By the way, for people that are in our community, this is kind of the new side of things. We usually just did the fund launch side. Now we have the fund management side. It's pretty cool. And we're building content all around this. Is that helpful? Is that kind of useful? So when you come in, Do not go to legal first. The first thing you are trying to do is get validation. And I tell people, I would try to get 50% verbally committed before you go to legal. Like if you're trying to raise $200,000, I'd get at least $100,000 verbally committed from people to cross validation. Is that kind of making sense? Yeah. All right. I wanted to share these frameworks as we started off today. Calling a few deals. We might call on a few more, but I also wanted to bring on Dan and Dustin. I know I flipped your guys' pictures. I'm sorry. But to continue to build upon this, let's bring on Dan and Dustin live. If you guys are available, please come on live. I'll wait for you to come on. Let me give you a little background on them if you missed the intro. So Dan and Dustin both came through Black Card. Both are now, which is our top group for fund managers. Both are now coaches in Black Card, and both actively are doing deals, actively are running funds right now, especially in the single asset fund space. So welcome on. I think I see them there. Yeah, add a spotlight for both of them so we can see them. Dan, good to see you. Dustin, good to see you. Let's start with, let's do this really briefly. I know we're short on time here today, but Dan, give us 30 seconds on you, just what you're doing right now, what you're involved, a little bit of credibility, and then we'll go 30 seconds to Dustin. Just give us a little bit of background on you, and then we'll talk about some of these deals and how maybe if someone's brand new to the space, how they dive in. But so Dan, let's start with you.
Yeah, so 30-second overview. Well, first of all, thank you, Bridger, for having us. But 30-second overview, I've got a couple real estate funds. I have a really exciting debt fund. But for the first 10 years of my career, I was in private equity. So lots of small deals, acquisitions, roll-ups, became a broker. So I've done it all, I've seen it all, and I've been a coach with Bridger inside of the Black Card program for almost 4 years now.
I love it. Yeah, Dan's phenomenal. He was at our event last week. Both of you guys were at our event last week. It's fun. And our favorite thing is we bring in, you're a coach in the community, but you're someone who does deals and then just shares what you're doing on the side, right? You only coach for a few hours a week, but your primary core business is that's the best coaches are people that are actually in the game doing deals, which is phenomenal. So Dan, welcome on. Dustin, over to you.
Yeah, sure thing. So been in Black Card since June of 2022. My previous background was in corporate America, and started doing some deals on the side, getting in the game over time as I was in that position, and wanted to come to Black Card to stand up an investment organization to help private investors do really, really well in real estate. And so over the last 3 years or so, we've launched 3 funds out of the Black Card program. First was real estate, second was private credit, and our newest fund is sort of a dual asset mix between private credit and real estate. And so super exciting. I've got the coolest gig in the world, you guys. I get to do deals all day. I get to coach the up and coming fund managers and try to, help people move on and launch their funds and single asset types and help people achieve what they're trying to achieve. So Bridger, appreciate you having me. Looking forward to participating today.
Yeah, pretty fun. Well, good to have you both on. Well, first thing, Dan, go back to you. You're in private equity. You're a broker as well in private equity. Yeah. How did I do on that call? I called a broker. What other questions should I have asked? Maybe rate me. You're a coach. Coach me for a second. What would you build upon? And maybe that process, is that a healthy process? What should people do? You can build upon that, Dan.
Yeah, so that is absolutely the right way to go. Just do the repetitions, call everybody, talk to everybody. I try to avoid email as much as possible because it's really easy to get lost in the weeds with an email. I want to hear the voice. I want to hear why they're explaining things. I want to hear when they're stuttering or like misstepping in their conversations. So you asked all the right questions. You got a hold of the owner, which was great. So he's self-brokering the deal. And the beauty of that is you're not paying a broker's fee. So a lot of these small businesses, there's all these fees built into the sale price. And I know this because I'm a broker and I build in fees when I'm helping somebody sell their company. And so you went straight to the owner. You asked all the right questions. You didn't pry too hard to where they did that hard stop and say, hey, we need to do the confidentiality or the NDA. So you got right where you needed to be. And then you started to peel back that onion where he was talking about all this missed revenue, which I think is a red flag, and all these small red flags. And then they start to kind of compile on top of each other. So I'd give you a 9 out of 10. That was a great call.
Wow, very generous, Dan. Thank you very much. For someone, we'll bump over to Dustin and we'll come back. Dustin, you're in real estate. I know a lot of our group on here is real estate. Would you recommend a similar strategy if someone's just kind of getting in? Maybe go a little bit deeper. How, if someone's looking at their first couple deals, and or they're looking at deals that are bigger than them. You know, a number of people on here have done, maybe they've done a duplex or a fourplex. They might be thinking, I'm going to do a single asset fund to do 32 units or 64 units. What's the process of maybe starting to do due diligence, finding right deals? What would you tell somebody, Dustin?
Absolutely. So, I think that Bridger, your example earlier of just making calls is the best way to get started. I see a lot of people new to the space that try to sort of figure all the ins and outs of this game, immediately instead of just getting to work and learning and getting some experience. You should certainly know what you're looking for. So I think one of the simplest things you can do is just net out on paper from a financial modeling perspective, what is the result that you're looking for? So if it's, I have investors that can give me 2 million, 3 million, or maybe even 100K, like what is the result I'm looking for? And then you need to match the asset to the results that you're forecasting. I think starting with the end in mind is really, really important in real estate, because if you just look at deals all day and you just talk to people with no context of what you're trying to achieve, you really could waste a lot of time. It ultimately doesn't take you anywhere. But in the example with the trucker earlier, if I know that I'm trying to buy private equity and I've got let's just say a capital stack of 1 million, Bridger, in that example, that would take down 10% of that deployment if it is a good deal. And especially if I could achieve the returns that match my original forecast, that might be a good fit for me. I think 9 out of 10, I got you maybe at like a 9.2, Bridger. I thought you kind of worked him well, got some information. So maybe tip the scales a little bit more your way. We do the same thing in real estate. When we see an asset we like, if it fits our portfolio, the capital deployment mix that we're looking for, we reach out cold. You never know what you can learn from those instances. The other thing I'd point out is, like your call with the gentleman earlier, he mentioned that there was a private equity group out of California. So there's all these little ripple effects you can get just by making some calls, just by making some introductions. It also works with investors that you go to pitch your idea and try to raise capital. You never know where those conversations will take you. So if you're trying to get started, financially think with the end in mind, but just start talking to people in the space and it'll fill in a lot of the gaps that you might have today.
Yeah, so start moving, right? Both of you guys said that. Just start moving is number one. I love what you said, back into deals. Now you might be saying, well, I don't know what's a good deal or bad deal. Find someone who does then, especially in real estate. There's real estate meetups in every city on earth. Literally just type in Boise, Idaho, real estate meetup. You can find, and then again, sort through people, find someone who really is an expert. Don't just partner with any yahoo. Find someone who's really good and actually is and test them out, test partners out. I think it's, you date partners before you get married. Let's date together. Let's call a few deals together. I'm curious what you're going to say. What am I going to say? Let's go on a dating phase for 2 or 3 months to see if these partners are good. But if you're not the guy or the gal, find someone who is the guy or the gal. Let's transition back to Dan. Question on here, which is prevalent. So we just talked about the fund launch formula. We just talked about deals, calling deals. You're now, maybe doing a mix of debt, equity, or seller finance. But then you're moving to the capital raising side. Can be very nerve-wracking. I mentioned earlier, if you ask for money, you typically get advice. And if you ask for advice, you generally get money, which I love that quote. Someone on this call today, and maybe take us back to the first time you ever asked somebody for money. It's nerve-wracking. It's very scary. Doing your first deal is very scary. Dan, what thoughts or insights would you have for somebody the first time they're approaching people with deals and money? Like, walk me through that.
Yeah, it's quite an experience, and it's something that all of us have either done before, and we all have our war stories, or it's something you're gearing up to do. But it just made me think of when I was 19 years old. I was trying to buy parking garages in downtown Cincinnati. I had no clue what I was doing. I was such a fool trying to go and do this. And after the 100th person laughed me out of their office, somebody was like, "Hey, there's actually a fitness center at the retail level of this office building. And I think they're struggling. I think you should go talk to them instead of trying to raise for a real estate deal." And that's actually what started my whole private equity career. And so like you'll never know when things fall into place, or when you're on one path raising money, something else might come afoot, and it just might be this great opportunity. So when it comes to raising money though, having a good understanding of what you want to do with it is so important. And then obviously you have to get these people to know, like, and trust you as fast as possible. So we're all going to start with our friends and family, and then we're going to start poking out into our secondary networks. But again, it's repetitions. It's perfecting the pitch. It's having such a clear understanding of what you're buying, whether it's a business or a piece of real estate, that you can walk through in your sleep what day one and year five looks like, with this investor, because they want to know, hey, things. Everybody shows a graph where numbers are going up and to the right, and that's what everybody's pitch looks like. But the real pitch is, hey, what happens when things go bad? Where is my money going to go when things go bad? And how will you, as the operator, owner, partner, going to respond to that? And you better have really, really clear understanding and paths and guidelines on what your life will look like if things do not go well inside of the deal. And I think that's the easiest way to raise money for your first deal.
Dan, well put, because it's funny. The first time I pitched too, I thought, oh, I'm just going to show the graph with the line of the up. And what I found is the more I talk about the risks and actually the downside, the more money I raise, actually, because it builds credibility. I talk against my own game. I say, yeah, this thing I think is going to crush, but let me show you how it could go bad. It could go bad here or here or here. And we're going to minimize or mitigate that risk by doing X, Y, and Z. And it shows that you're very a thoughtful steward of capital. That's what you're really showing them is, hey, I'm a steward of capital that thinks through the ups and the downs, and it can build asymmetrical risk, which we said before is a fancy way of saying relatively low risk for return. Dustin, now I'm jumping to you. In real estate, there's a lot of people in real estate, I'm sure there's some on this call, that the mindset is, well, I'm just going to do my own deals, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Do my own deals. I'm going to do a duplex, then I'm going to do a fourplex, then I'm doing an eightplex, and I'm going to build up over time and have this group of rentals. And they're always equity rich and cash poor. That is the life of a single operator real estate investor person, like single, just the self-funded person. Walk me through for you. And the gap, jumping that gap of like, I'm just going to do it myself versus I'm going to now use other people's money, set up a fund, scale. Maybe walk me through your story a little bit, jumping that gap, what it's been like for you, what were the ups and the downs?
Absolutely. Bridger, I could probably take the rest of the call to go through exactly that, but I'll try to summarize this as much as I can. So I will tell you guys what Bridger just described. That was my path into the fund space. Like, we saved, got a rental, saved again, got another rental, and just compounded the profits over time to where I had a really nice personal portfolio that I was really happy about. I felt like I really succeeded. But I will tell you guys the moment it changed for me. I came across this deal, and it is still to date my most favorite deal I have ever done. I was at the right place at the right time. I got the terms, I got the price, and I was so excited about it. We got the contract in place and we closed. And I can remember standing on that property with this overwhelming sense of disappointment because there were 10 other units available just like this one. And the only reason I did not take it down is because I didn't have the money. And that was really sort of part of the origin story that I got into Fund Launch was if I just had the capital, we could have made life-altering sums of money, and I could have done it for people that I actually care about. And so for me, getting into the fund space, that was a big transition point of having a personal portfolio of a bunch of single assets, doing well, learning, failing, learning again, succeeding, failing over and over and over again until you get to a point where, you know what, I'm confident to take in investor capital and really make this a big business. So that was a little bit part of my story, Bridger. I will tell you though, guys, all that track record I had, all of those past results, that got my foot in the door with a lot of investors, but it certainly was not an automatic check into the fund just because you had previously operated single assets. What I will tell you is deal making, managing your portfolio, that is an entirely different game than raising capital and managing a fund with investor capital. It's two totally different business types. And so one of the things that I always encourage new fund managers to do is a lot of times you're trying to earn capital based on trust. And I will tell you, there is no one that believes trust is more important in business than me. But in the fund space, transparency is even more important than trust, Bridger, in my experience. So however you can display and illustrate transparency to your investors is an unbelievable competitive edge in the fund space. The reality is, all of us are small in comparison to these really large institutions. And one of the ways we can connect ourselves to our investors even better is being completely transparent with everything that we do. So all of the tools you're using, third-party audits, clear line of sight into your bookkeeping, consistent updates with your investors. That's the type of transparency you can use as an early stage fund manager to start helping you get some capital into your fund. And I will tell you guys, once you get capital in and you can show results versus theory, like you're doing in a pitch, sky's the limit from how much capital you can raise. And so, Bridger, I hope that helps.
Yeah, I want to double click on that. Well, you mentioned maybe differentiate trust of blind trust. Well, I'm just trusting this person versus transparency makes it real trust. Oh, I can see right through everything in this deal. That's what transparency is. I can see all the ins and outs. That makes me trust you more. So it builds trust. And it's not blind trust now, it's certified trust. I guess you could, if you're using a vernacular there. Dustin, well put. And I'm happy that, I guess that terrible moment of not getting those 10 other units pushed you into, okay, I got to figure out a new game. And it's funny enough, that story you just told is a very common tale. A number of people say, man, if only I had the capital structure ready to go, look what I could do. And furthermore, oftentimes those bigger deals, there's less competition on those deals as well. You actually do get better terms because there is more competition on the smaller deals because everyone can do them. Barrier to entry is very low. When you start bidding on a 200 unit apartment complex, barrier to entry is much higher, hence competition goes down and you can get better terms and better results. So Dan and Dustin, I wish we had all day to talk. Thank you all for popping in for a few minutes here. We probably will have you guys. I might have you guys come on back tomorrow, but for time's sake, we gotta end it here. Dan, if you guys can in the chat, give Dan and Dustin a huge bit of love. We'll bring them up later and maybe tomorrow again. But thank you, Dustin and Dan. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
See y'all later. All right, pretty awesome. We're gonna keep moving here. Can you show my slides for a sec? Who I want to bring on next is, let's see if my slides will pull up. So we just had Dan and Dustin. We just talked about the fund launch forum. We just called on some leads as well and talked about kind of this mix of debt, equity, and seller finance. So this whole game of playing bigger, in just a few minutes, we're going to bring on Alexis Morgan talking about what she's doing. But also, I want to bring on Ben Hardy. Okay, Ben Hardy, Dr. Ben Hardy, author of 10x Easier Than 2x and Be Your Future Self Now. Very incredible speaker. He's not coming on live. I'm going to play a clip of what he spoke on at Fund Launch Live in front of, 1,500 people about a year ago with us at our event. Now, what we're going to do, this clip is phenomenal. His whole speech was about 45 minutes to an hour. We clipped just a few minutes here that I think it dovetails perfectly with Dustin and Dan just shared and what we're talking about today. So Ben Hardy, though, it's a very interesting way of thinking. He's done his whole PhD was on this concept around goals and/or what's the psychology behind them and how we think and move as humans. His talk really has shaped over the last year. I've thought about his talk multiple times, and it's really reshaped the way I've approached what I'm doing in business. I thought this would be very useful. Would it be cool if I bring him on live? Or not live, bring on the video here? Is that cool? Type a yes in the chat if that'd be all right. Sound good? Now, what we're going to do, I'm going to turn it up on 1.25x speed. Okay, just a little bit faster, just for time's sake. I know your time's valuable, so for this clip, we're gonna put this on here, and once we get going, he'll get going. But this is on stage for Ben Hardy. Sound good? All right. With that, let's roll the clip. Let us know if the audio or something's not working, but we're gonna roll it live right now. Let's hit that.
So let me tell you a quick story, and then I'm going to share with you some ideas that I think are going to completely change, hopefully, how you see everything and make it extremely practical. extremely practical how you can achieve things that seem impossible very quickly. There's actually a lot of research on this, a lot of science on this. It's just very it's misunderstood. And so I think by the end of this, you're going to have a lot of fun. So I'm going to share with you a story about a guy named Matt. I met Matt about a month ago. Matt took part in a 60-day challenge that I did at the end of 2023. It was the last 60 days of the year. So it started on November 1st, and it ended on January 1st. So I'm going to just give you a little bit of context into this guy. He lives in South Carolina. He owns a few businesses. They're in real estate. But the business he was really focusing on was a property management business. So at the time of the challenge on November 1st, he had 60 properties under management. 60. And it had taken him 2 years to get there, and he had 2 team members. These team members were rock stars, A players. But it had taken him 2 years to get to 60. I told him on November 1st, I want you to achieve something that you think is impossible by January 1st, in the next 60 days. So basically, what he ended up doing was he set the goal of having 500 properties. So from 60 to 500 in 2 months. Essentially a 10x in 2 months. And had no clue how to do it. So this is where I'm going to explain to you the science of impossible goals. I'm going to break it down on many levels for you. So ultimately, how did he get to 60? He got to 60 by acquiring 1 property at a time. If you looked at the portfolio of 60, there were probably 20 clients in there. A lot of those he grabbed 1 at a time, some 2 or 3 at a time. But obviously, if he was going to get to 500 in 2 months, he couldn't do it that way. This is the first big aha, the first big nugget, and I'm going to explain more of it to you in a second. By the way, I love everything about the thinking here because when you think from the impossible goal, not toward it, but from it, it is going to require a different vehicle, a different process, fundamentally a different strategy. So Matt went to his team and he said, first off, there were only 2 of them, again, two leaders. And he said, this is the goal. I have no idea how we're going to do it. Are you guys with me? And they both said, yes, absolutely. So the first thing he did was he actually hired 2 more team members, complete rock stars. He hired 2 more team members, and then they just started digging through. Again, they couldn't get there the old way. So ultimately, here's where they concluded. They ended up with 320. So they over 5x'd their business in that 2 months. And what they ended up doing was they ended up finding people, obviously, with hundreds of properties. They got one person with 160 properties, one person with 70. They began looking for clients. And that's often something that will happen. When you start going for an impossible goal, or when you 10x in any way, you're probably going to be doing something slightly different. Your own role will look different. Even Matt's, he became much more of a transformational leader. So he ends the year, they 5x'd their business, and then I meet Matt on, say, mid-February, 2 months ago. And this is what happened afterward. This is where it got pretty interesting. Their top client that they just got, who had 160 properties, left. They felt compelled, they felt a little awkward, and they ended up going back to their former management company, even though the former management company was horrible compared to Matt's company, just for social reasons. And so with the loss of this client, now they are deep in the red. 20 grand a month in the red with these 2 new rock stars and stuff. And so Matt gives an ultimatum. He basically tells them, we need to get 500 properties in the next, essentially, 2 months, or this business is going down. So he said, you've got 2 choices. He offered them 2 choices. Basically, you can take an extremely amazing severance package and leave now, or you commit to me to go to 500. And none of them took the severance package. And basically, I will just say, less than a week later, they had 1,500 properties under management. Literally. I want to explain to you what happened. So they had just gone through this backslide. The most timid person on the team that had made 0 cold calls during their first surge, she got committed. She got serious. And ultimately, she started looking in very different places than they'd ever looked before and ended up having lunch with a guy who had 1,000 properties. I don't know what that is in net worth, but they were not talking to those kind of people before. Someone with 1,000 properties, she went and had lunch with him, and ultimately, he committed. And so that plus a few other happened in less than a week. And so I talked to Matt again. This is when I met him, just about, again, a month and a half or 2 months ago. And I said, Matt, what is your impossible goal before the end of Q2? And he said, I'm going to have 5,000. He said, we just barely watched. We just built the capability of doing 1,000, so I know we can do it. So essentially, his business in about 6 months is going to go from 60 properties under management, great team of 2, doing low 6 figures. They're going to have over 5,000 properties under management by setting an impossible goal and then by using that as the filter. And so this is going to take me to the framework that I want to show you. Ultimately, that's his goal, as I already said. So this isn't the actual cover, but this is the next book I'm writing. And this is kind of the step I want to show you. And one of the reasons, again, why I really love the work that's in this community is that it's really thorough. And you'll see the connection here in a second. And by the way, I did not know that connection before talking to Bridger. So this is what I'm going to walk you through. The first step of going through any form of rapid transformation is you've got to change your frame. Second, you've got to change your floor. In the case of Matt, his frame was no longer how we got from 0 to 60. It was 500 backwards. Now it's 5,000 backwards. That's the frame. The impossible goal is the frame. And I'm going to explain, how many of you have actually read 10x is easier than 2x? Beautiful, 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 beautiful. In that, I shared a little bit of the research on impossible goals and why they simplify everything. I'm going to show you a little bit more of that in a second. But the frame is the impossible goal. The key insight here is that almost nothing Matt was doing could have gotten him to that impossible goal. So that's what sets the floor. The floor for the impossible goal is so high that almost nothing will work. A lot of things would have worked if they were going to try to go from 60 to 100, or 60 even to 150. A lot of things they were doing would have worked to do that. But to go to 500, almost nothing they were doing could work. So the floor, or the filter, is extremely high. Again, almost nothing works, and so you have to operate above that. When you start going for impossible goals and you let that be the frame, or the framework for what you do, it's going to lead you to a very different floor, or strategy, or approach. The old ways won't work. You can't let the past get you to an impossible goal. So then the final one is focus. And that's exactly what they did. They focused, but they focused above the floor. They focused on new and interesting ways that came from their future. Not towards their future, from their future. From the impossible goal. And it being so high that, again, almost nothing would work, it allowed them to find and focus on really interesting pathways, or solutions, or, using the language of this room, vehicles to get them there. I want to show you a few other ways of looking at this framework. And then I'm going to share with you, I'm going to geek out with you a little bit. Last night I was on an airplane flying home and I found some really interesting research on impossible goals. So I'm just going to geek out with you on that a minute. And I'm going to show you a very different model of time. You can't operate in the same way of time to achieve things that feel impossible, or even things that actually are impossible from where you're at right now. So just a few other ways of looking at this. Your frame is essentially your framework for operating. And another way of looking at that is it's your thesis. We all have a thesis of life. Your thesis is your operating system. It's your belief system. Some of us have a refined thesis. Some of us don't. When I do trainings with leaders and they give me their vision and their strategy and it's 10 pages, they do not have a good thesis. If it doesn't fit on a single page, it is not a refined thesis. They haven't stripped out a lot of the noise. They haven't stripped out a lot of the things that honestly are not going to work. One of the things that Elon Musk talks about is that most people are optimizing something that should not exist. Literally, they're optimizing something that should not exist because they're not asking a bigger question that would force them to let go of almost everything they're doing. So first you've got framework and thesis. The second, which is the floor, is actually your system and strategy. Think about Matt again for a second. His system was built around getting 1 or 2 or 3 people at a time. But the impossible goal required a very new floor that they had to systemize up here. Their strategy was largely about what they said no to. They couldn't keep saying yes to the opportunities that they were really good at getting. This person had 1, this person had 3. They couldn't do that. They had to systemize and strategize at the new floor and only go above. And so that's where focus comes in, and executing on the impossible goal, executing above the floor and systemizing the new floor. One final way of just looking at this, your frame is your identity. And I'm going to show you this in a second, but most people's identity is caught up in their past self and their present self. What you really want to do is get very good at identifying with your future self, and then letting your future self be the operating system for who you are today. And I'm going to show you some really beautiful research in positive psychology on that topic. So your frame is your identity. You don't see the world as it is, you see the world as you are, as the quote says. And so you really want your identity of your future self, even your impossible next level future self, to be the identity of who you're being today. Not the old self, not the old operating system, but the frame of your future self. Your floor becomes your character. So your character is who you actually are. Think about your floor. It's what determines what you say yes and no to as a person. When you raise the floor, you say no to a lot of the things that your past self said yes to, because the floor is too high. And so when you actually normalize it, then that's where the focus and the transformation happens. You actually, the process of executing, what Matt's team just did over those few months, is where they took an identity that seemed impossible and they turned it into their character. That's what happens when you execute on the vision. Again, not execute to the vision. They couldn't have 10x'd their old strategy of trying to do 100 transactions. They had to find like 5 or 6 that were the new way. And I know we've already talked about you have to find a new way to achieve things that right now seem impossible. So this is one of my favorite quotes. This is Tony Hsieh of Zappos. He says, for individuals, character is destiny. For organizations, culture is destiny. So what I'm saying is the floor is not just the character of who you are, but it ends up being the culture of the business. And that's actually exactly what Matt did. He set the floor and said, we're only operating above this. If any of you are not wanting to come here, I'll give you a severance package. And so the floor ends up becoming your culture. If you think about it in terms of social, that floor represents your friends group. And so when you raise the floor, you have to be thoughtful about who you're letting into your life. Okay, so here's where I'm going to geek out with you for a second. Just want to show you this. I literally found this research article yesterday. And so I'm just going to read you a little bit of geekiness, and then I'm going to show you a really cool model that's going to change how you view time, and it's going to allow you to start letting your future dictate who you are rather than your past dictating who you are. So here's me geeking out. I don't even know if I can read this from this view, but I do need to read it because this is some new stuff. So this is a research article that was done by some amazing researchers at Duke. So this is all about what they call stretch goals, but they define stretch goals as goals that literally are impossible with your current capabilities. So I'm just going to read this. when performance expectations are elevated well beyond the limits of past experience. So when performance expectations are raised way beyond past experience, and where previously successful frameworks, i.e. how you see the world, where previously successful frameworks are questioned, revised, and discarded, prior experience is often a poor guide for stretch goal achievement. Again, they define stretch goals as goals that seem impossible. And this shifts the performance attention away from old routines and assumptions toward novel and creative approaches. So only by operating, and by the way, this research, I hate to say it, it actually debunks so much other research. Even, I love her, but Carol Dweck's growth mindset, a lot of this research even debunks some of her assumptions. Just two other quick nerdy quotes, and then I'm going to jump in to a really powerful model. Without attention being channeled to alternative futures, new paths are not likely to be considered. So you're not going to actually find the new pathways, the new options, the new strategies to execute on below the floor if you're not using a different future as the frame, as the thesis, as even your identity. You got to let that be. And by the way, I'll just get there in a second. One more geek. Because they are extreme. Because they are extreme, stretch goals have been argued to serve as jolting events that disrupt complacency and promote new ways of thinking and acting. In effect, the imposition of such extreme goals can be similar to an autogenic crisis meant to spur change. This is what happens. Actually, if you've read the book Good to Great by Jim Collins, he talks about this idea of a BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. And he says the only reason to have this goal is because it disrupts your company in the present. The only reason to go for something impossible is because it forces you to stop doing what you've been doing, to stop operating from the past, to stop operating what I'll call 2x. So with all that background in mind, let's look at time. This is the common way for people to look at time. This is the common way for people to explain themselves and their life. This is what would be considered a Newtonian view of time. So when we operate in this way of time, we let the past not only explain the present, but we let the past determine the present. The present is simply a domino being knocked over by past dominoes. And if you listen to how most people explain themselves, this is how they explain themselves. I am who I am because this happened to me. And just as rough, because this is a very slow-oriented way of time, it actually removes any sense of agency or control. It also heavily limits and cripples your ability to actually achieve things that are different. This is also a model in which people get stuck in the past and how traumas occur. It's when the past is determining and shaping who you are in the present. So this is from Dr. Marty Seligman, as well as Roy Baumeister and others. If you don't know who Marty Seligman is, he is the one who literally created the new positive psychology movement that's been around for about 20 years now. So this is the book, Homo Prospectus, and basically he says this, they say this: much of the history of psychology has been dominated by a framework in which people and animals are driven by the past. What they have found and what modern research in neuroscience and positive psychology, it actually shows the opposite. And that's what this book is all about and all of the research on this. Prospection is actually the idea that we as human beings, we can imagine different futures. Not very many other species on the planet can do that, by the way. You can actually think about different futures even in this room right now. You can play with the ideas I'm sharing with you. You can think about 10xing your own goal and just actually play with that. That's called prospection. You're thinking about prospects for your future. You're thinking about different pathways. You're thinking about different opportunities. That is a human superpower. And so what they have found is that it's not the past that drives you. It's actually the future that pulls you. The only reason any of you are in this room is because you have a future that's pulling you, and this room is relevant to that future. Otherwise, you would not be here. You being in this, right? Come on. Come on. I love that. Will you yell one more time? Yeah! Seriously, if you really think about it, think about any person, a young person wanting to go to college. That is the thing that's ultimately leading them to getting various grades. If someone sees a different future for themselves, and of course, your view of your past will influence your future. But it is the future that's shaping your decisions. And if I was to have you go back a year to the person you were a year ago, you did not have the same view of your future back then. You might not have been in this room back then because you had a different future that was pulling you. So I want to say one more thing about this. Just as we have a wrong assumption that the past determines the present, which is the quote I just shared with you from Marty Seligman, we also have an inaccurate approach on the second two bullets. We take the present and we use that as the basis for creating the future. That's not what you want to do, by the way. That is a very linear approach. That is a very non-imaginative approach. But this is how most people think about their future selves. So let me go ahead and share with you a quote from one of my favorite psychologists. He's a Harvard psychologist. This is a picture of him, Dr. Daniel Gilbert. So this is what he said in that TED Talk, based on a lot of research. He said at every age, from 18 to 68 in our data set, people vastly underestimated how much change they would experience in the next 10 years. 18-year-olds to 68-year-olds to 100-year-olds, whatever. Everyone vastly underestimates how different they will be in 10 years. I would argue in a room like this, even in 1 year, we're vastly underestimating how different things can be, how different we can be. As he continues, we call this the end of history illusion. To give you an idea of the magnitude of this effect, 18-year-olds anticipate changing only as much as 50-year-olds actually do. Most of us can remember who we were 10 years ago, but we find it hard to imagine who we're going to be, and then we mistakenly think that because it's hard to imagine, it's not likely to happen. He concludes, sorry, when people say, I can't imagine that, they're usually talking about their own lack of imagination, not about the unlikelihood of the event they're describing. So what he is saying is people have a very bad imagination when it comes to their future selves. Most people, even in this room likely, take your present self as the basis for who you think your future self can be. Maybe a little extra money, maybe a different house. I'm telling you, in identity, in frame, floor, and focus, in capability, maybe in team, in complete situation, in how you think about life, your future self will be different. One way of even thinking about that is genuinely. Go back to who you were in 2014. Think about it for a second. 10 years ago. Just think about where you were. Just take a second to time travel back. What the heck were you doing 10 years ago? What were you thinking about? What was your frame, right? What was your thesis, right? In terms of your vision of success, your path, your strategy. What were you up to? Who were you spending time with? Think about how different you actually are. One thing you will get good at in terms of mastering your past is actually seeing that much growth like every year or every 90 days. So this is not the model of time that I would have you work off of, but this is not even an accurate model of time. This is the more accurate model. And there's a few really, really important things that you need to understand with this model of time. Firstly, it's not the past that determines the present. It is always you in the present that determines what your past is and what it means. Memory is called a reconstructive act. Whenever I think about a memory, I'm reconstructing it in the present, and I'm creating it in the present, just like I would think about my future. There's a few key things here that you've got to know. So first off, it's the present that determines the past, but it's also the future that determines who you are in the present. That's what I said. It's not the past that's driving you, it's the future that's pulling you. And in this conversation, I want to show you different types of futures that will completely disrupt and change who you are in the present. Let's first start, though, with this idea that the present is what shapes the past. One of my favorite quotes, this is from a professor named Dr. Brent Slife. He said, we reinterpret or reconstruct our memory in light of what our mental set is in the present. In this sense, it is more accurate to say that the present causes the meaning of the past than it is to say that the past causes the meaning of the present. Our memories are not stored in objective entities, but they're living parts of ourselves in the present. Your past isn't gone. Your past is with you right now. And it's constantly changing as you change and evolve. And you can get very good at transforming your past in effective ways. This is the reason our present moods and future goals so affect our memories. You want to get really good at framing your past so that it's an asset rather than a liability. You also want to regularly recognize how different you are from your past self. Even if you went back to the beginning of 2024, at the beginning of this year, you are not the same person you were at the beginning of 2024. And so when you're thinking about identity, it's very useful to look at who I am today and say, how am I different from who I was 3.5 months ago? Very powerful to recognize, appreciate, and create the differences between your current self and your past self. Now, this model brings up two super important insights. that really mix up and mess people up. The first thing is that when I'm talking about the psychology of time, your past, your present, and your future, and by the way, even Albert Einstein said that the dividing lines between these is an illusion. All of these actually exist all at once, psychologically. Who I am in the present is completely based on how I frame my past, as well as the future that is pulling me forward. And so what I want you to realize is that the past and the future, in terms of your own head, your past and your future are not realities. They're tools. They're tools for effectively operating in the present. Genuinely. And I'll show you that by taking, for example, a 10-year goal and going for it in 3, that's just a tool. Time is a tool. The future is a tool. The entire purpose of the future and how you look at it is to better operate in the present. Your past is a tool. It's something you can use. It's something that by changing it, reframing it, remodeling it, you don't have to be stuck in an old identity. You don't have to be stuck in an old way of thinking about it. You can actually be really grateful that something happened, but you also can see that I don't need to do that again. So the past and the future are tools. When you start going for impossible goals, people will often say, well, what if I don't achieve the goal? The future is a tool for making decisions in the present, for simplifying the present, even for disrupting the present. And so it's just a tool. You can use it or not use it. But some futures are a lot more useful than others. So let me give you a few really simple basic examples. To the idea of frame, to the idea of floor, to the idea of focus. I'll give an example of my son Caleb, which I actually shared in 10x is easier than 2x. But the idea here is this. Your frame determines what you see. It's your view of the world. If you have a small future, if you have a small goal, there's a lot of noise. That's all the noise right there. It's only by making your future seemingly impossible that you can actually find, filter, and focus on those really interesting vehicles. From this view, you cannot see it. So let me give my son Caleb as an example. Tennis player here in Orlando. This is a pretty big spot for tennis. And so he is 16 years old, an amazing tennis player actually. And he wants to play college tennis. And as I wrote about in 10x is easier than 2x, his coach pushed back on that goal. He said, Caleb, why isn't your goal to go pro? And Caleb had never thought about it. And because he had never thought about it, he certainly was not pursuing it. We certainly were not strategizing it. It was outside his frame of reference. He was not even considering it. So where we live, if you're looking at this frame model, to achieve his goal of going to college, it's like this. There are hundreds of possible pathways, which makes it actually very hard to discern what would actually be useful. It is only by making his goal the higher goal. Call it, if he actually was to go for pro, think about how that would change how we look at everything he's doing. Here in Orlando, there are probably 1,000 coaches, literally, 1,000 coaches or academies that could get him to the college level. That's this. How could we actually discern which ones are actually powerful? It's only by having the impossible goal, the unattainable goal, that we could actually find the coaches or the programs or the processes that are that powerful. Your frame determines the floor. Call the floor the bottom line on that yellow line. Almost nothing would work. All of these things get separated out. And so you really want to operate toward a seemingly impossible goal. You study anyone who's achieved anything ridiculous. Mr. Beast as an example. He's someone who I really love. He was going for such a high goal that that's what shaped his whole process. Your process or your development or your learning is based on what you're going for. And when you go for a seemingly impossible goal, almost everything you're doing right now is going to have to get weeded out. And you're going to have to find, focus, and execute on much different paths.
All right, wasn't that awesome? Good to have you guys there. So, Dr. Ben Hardy, I want to share that clip because it really changed the way I thought and framed about the way I, approached my own goals. Type in the chat. What were some takeaways from that talk from Ben Hardy or just barely? Anything stand out to you? What was insightful? Oh, can you stop sharing the screen here for a sec? There we go. Set the floor high. We were thinking too small. Frame Oh, they're coming in too fast. Pull my future self now mind frame. Isn't that kind of cool? Was that useful? Was that worth our time? I thought that was phenomenal. Let me share now my screen here. So Ben Hardy, he's got phenomenal books. Go check him out. He's become a good friend. This is the idea that I've shared earlier of the future self pulling your present self further. I clipped this piece of it. This has stuck with me for a long time. And maybe for a second, if you guys want to think, maybe you can move my little panel there so you can see it. Think, what is that future self that you want to pull your present self into? Now, we could do a long goal setting session or whatever. We're not going to do that right now. But think for a second, though. Just imagine in your mind's eye who that future person is. And how is your present self today going to pull, the future is going to pull you into that present self? That stuck out with me drastically. And I've thought about this quite a bit over the last few years since I first heard this concept from Dr. Ben Hardy. It made me think of this quote as well. You've all heard this from Winston Churchill, but I'll read it again. To each there comes in a lifetime a special moment when they are figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered the chance to do a very special thing. What a tragedy if that moment finds them unprepared for what could have been their finest hour. What we've done yesterday, today, and then obviously later today, we got Alexis Morgan coming on here in a few minutes. She's going to be talking about how she's done this. We're going to have people tomorrow as well. But I want us to think and play bigger, where we have our future self partner present. That's what we're offering single asset funds. That's what I'm teaching for 3 days, is to play bigger, to do more deals, to do actually and play on this game and think beyond what you've currently done in the past. Now, for the next few minutes, is it okay if we share something that we've been building for the last few months to help you actually take what you are considering right now with a single asset fund and or a full out fund and put it into action? Would that be all right with you guys? Type a yes in the chat if that'd be cool. And then after I'm done, we're going to bring on Alexis Morgan. She's going to talk about, she's 20 years old right now, doing incredible stuff. She's raised around $15 million at 20 years old. We're going to bring her on. She's a member of Black Card. She's awesome. You guys will love her. We're going to bring her on in a few minutes. Does that sound like a good plan? Okay, type yes in the chat. Actually, we haven't done a giveaway for a minute. Let's pick somebody, type yes in the chat, and we'll do a $100 giveaway to someone, yes, and then we'll walk through what we've built for the last few months, and we'll bring on Alexis Morgan. Sound good? Okay, type a yes in the chat. Let me share my screen here. Here we go. Pull it open. Okay, type yes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll see what falls on. Scott, there's Scott right here. Scott, you got $100 coming your way. Send us a message to bridger@funlaunch.com. You can see I'm doing this live. I just picked Scott randomly. There he is, Scott. Good job. All right, we'll go back here. So, you guys ready? This has been secret. We have not really told anybody about this. You were the first people to hear what we've been building in secret for the last few months. I'm pretty excited to share with y'all. So, I want to introduce you guys today to single asset funds. And furthermore, the whole platform that we have built around this to help you get real world results. What you don't need is another crappy online course with no information or action. This is not a course. It's not one of those things online. This is actually some, well, and I'll say this. You actually want a fund to close your deals in a compliant, honest way that you can build a track record with real investors. That's what you actually want. You don't want another course or just more information. We already have that. 3 days, we've given you tons of information. I will give away information for free all the time. What we have here is you want tangible outcomes to actually move the needle, to get this moving, to, like Ben says, 10x is easier than 2x, actually hit that impossible goal in that frame of reference. So to achieve this, we had to rethink from the ground up. And what led us to actually building our own custom platform. This is not some plug and play. We actually, from the ground up, developed our own custom platform that I'm going to share with you guys just in a minute. Designed all around the fund launch formula. We shared this today. We'll talk about this more tomorrow. The fund launch formula angle of building funds is a very unique thing, and we couldn't plug this into another platform. So we decided to build our own fund launch platform. So introducing, drum roll please a little bit. You can do that on the chat, some kind of drum roll, I guess. Introducing the fund launch platform. Okay, this is built by fund managers for fund managers, designed all around the fund launch formula. So I'll give you a few takes, and actually after I'm done, I'm actually going to go live in the platform. It is ready to use today, which is pretty cool. So this is a little look at the dashboard. Again, you can see your fund progress, how much you've raised. We'll talk about that in a minute of how it actually helps you go out and market and build your fund around you. Furthermore, we have the full fund builder in here. This goes very in depth on every detail of your fund, your thesis, how you're mitigating risk. It asks you the questions, prompts you on how to construct your single asset fund in a very tangible, real way that you can plug into a pitch deck and offering doc to help you get real results, okay? Furthermore, you'll see we have calendars, office hours, we have events happening all on the platform here, which is pretty cool. Let me give you a little example here though in the fund builder, if you can see that. So in here, you'll select if you're doing multifamily, what kind of, doing value add, office, and you'll actually build your fund offering around you inside of the fund builder. Again, this is why we couldn't use another platform. We had to custom build our entire whole platform to do this, to help you use the fund launch formula. So, and then in here, we have videos and supplemental content to train you on things that maybe you won't know or how to build it out. So if you need help on this piece, for example, your target market, you can watch this video. But let's say you ran into a problem. We'll see this little button on the bottom here. And you're like, hey, I don't really know, what is LTV? So if I'm using this little AI assistant can pop up and I ask the question, if I'm using debt, what's your target loan to value, LTV? What does that mean? Great question. Loan to value is the ratio of loan to the total value of the assets you're buying. Basically, how much leverage you're using for the example. So it explains me what LTV is, and I can chat with my AI assistant, and it guides me through the fund builder process. Isn't that pretty exciting? So this is Single Asset Funds' new platform that is now live today. You guys are the first people that are seeing this and the first people that are going to enter in and use this. Furthermore, inside of the platform, it is all based on your asset class. So whether you're doing private equity and buying small businesses, you're doing a hedge fund and you're maybe trading commodities, options, crypto. Maybe you're doing real estate, whether commercial or single family real estate, or venture capital, you're investing into small businesses, or private credit where you're making loans. It's almost a choose your own adventure type of platform where you pick which one you want to be into, and it will tailor the platform around whatever type of single asset fund you are building. So in here, inside the platform, you drastically can optimize your deal thesis and edge, craft your deal structure, you refine your investor terms, patch all your blind spots, and generate your complete blueprint that you can take to investors following the fund launch formula, okay? Isn't that kind of cool? Big kudos to our development team and everyone that's on this platform that we've been working on for months. And today we are so excited to put this into place. So the fund launch roadmap, now where is this going? For people that join Single Asset Funds today, you are brought in today and you're going to be grandfathered into all of the future pieces of this roadmap. So phase one is today. We've already built the entire fund builder and the private platform, which arguably was the hardest part, to actually get it up to speed and is live and then can be customized for your fund and offering. Phase two, which is coming out, this isn't months or years away, in a matter of weeks. Phase two will be live, where we're actually onboarding everyone from Black Card onto this. If you guys don't know what Black Card's our top group. Anybody on Black Card here? Give Black Card a little bit of love. Some Black Card members are on here. Black Card's our full incubator for a full out fund. Today we're talking about single asset funds, but Black Card's been an amazing group. We're going to onboard all of Black Card onto this as well for Black Card members, with 20 plus service providers on the platform and all communications with those service providers on platform as well. So all of your legal teams, your tax teams, your compliance teams, all communications will be on platform, all in one centralized place. Now, moving on to phase three. In the coming weeks, we are going to have a full fund launch AI builder put into the platform. You just saw a chat feature, but the next phase of this would be the AI builder actually builds the fund with you. It syncs, designs your funds, prompts you, sees where you're missing, and actually is in a full help on your fund. The next phase after that, this AI then becomes an agent and actually works with you on your behalf. It would design your tools, marketing materials, one-pagers, pitch deck, integrates for legal docs. It would take all your information and plug those into a lawyer team to speed up the process. Now, let me be clear. We don't expect an AI to do everything, okay? I don't think we ever want that to happen. And maybe we do, I don't know. That'll be a strange world once we get there. But at this point, phase three and phase four is an AI, fund launch AI would do 65% of the work or 70% of the work. And then you can take that and hand that off to a real world people, like a real world lawyer, a real world coach or consultant, to help you button up all the final details for the last 20 to 30%. Does that make sense? But what's happening right now with AI right now, and our team, we've hired a handful of incredible developers to build this on our team. They're all in-house, it's all custom for us, which is pretty cool. And then finally, phase five, you might want to move my frame there. AI then would outbound and work as an agent, outbound potential investors, outsources deals, maybe even does calls on your behalf. That would be phase 5. So this is the roadmap of where Fund Launch is, starting with phase 1 today and where we're going here in, this isn't years away. This is weeks, if not months away as we're doing this. And everyone that joins today on Single Asset Funds, you will be grandfathered into this entire process as a founding member today. So this will become the everything platform for funds. Anyone launching a fund can come use the Fund Launch platform. So to put this together, it's the Fund Launch platform, 6-stage process to launch your fund. It's vetted in a refined way, guiding builder to craft each detailed strategy of your single asset fund, and the dynamic dashboard with process tracking, full analytics, and actionable next steps with AI builders coming in the near future. Now, that alone we thought was phenomenal to help anybody on this call. It's like, I want help doing my single asset funds. Like, we were like, that would be phenomenal. We said, what else could we add in that would make this even better? So oftentimes when I'm building something, I don't need tons of help. You're probably a lot of you're like, I don't need tons of help, but I do sometimes get stuck on 1 or 2 things. I just need an answer to a question here or there. And I also want to learn from other people around me and see what they're doing, right? I want to use, like Ben Hardy said, oftentimes being around a group of people that's maybe has a bigger future or a bigger outcome than you can see helps you pull that future self, your current self, into that future self. So what we're going to have is group consulting as well. So when you join today, you join with with our team on Single Asset Funds. We're doing group coaching calls 4 days a week. We'll talk about legal, capital raising, investment thesis, general Q&A, taxes, financial modeling, the whole 9 yards. So every single week, we'll have live calls from our coaches. 2 of the coaches you met today. So Dan Pearson and Dustin Gomez, you met them today. You'll meet these 2 tomorrow. They're coming on live. These are active fund managers that are actively doing deals. They hop on live. I'll go here. These are the times: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 3, 2, noon, and 10 a.m. You can hop on and get questions to anything you have going on. Furthermore, you can sit in and hear the other people that are in the community asking their questions, working on their deals, and getting one-on-one personalized coaching help. Isn't that kind of cool? Who would love to have access to that when building out your single asset fund? Again, like I said at the beginning, you guys need actionable things that make things move, that actually push you to something. Having someone like Dustin or Dan or Ben on your team pushing you, someone who's done it before that can show you the roadmap and say, hey, step 3, 4, 5, and 6 are this. You got to follow these things, is crucial when building a fund. That's what I had when I built out my first fund, because it can be really scary. To be honest, building your first fund, your first single asset fund, raising capital for the first time can be extremely scary, and this helps bridge that gap on the platform. Okay, so to summarize, first thing you get when you join today are the single asset funds. You get the Fund Launch platform, the AI builders that are coming in, the full detailed asset class breakdown in there. Additionally, you get consulting. So 4 times a week, we have group coaching, and then you can add on one-on-one coaching as well if you'd like on the back end. Now, one of the biggest value add features of our products in the past has been the Wall Street Rebel community. It's funny, we do surveys all the time in Fund Launch. We're like, what was the most valuable piece of something that we've done in the past? And every time it's like the people, which is such a testament to y'all. This is our community today. Like, maybe give yourselves a round of applause in the chat for coming out today, being live, being on with us. Our community is phenomenal. And we did not want to let that go in this product as well. So today, when you join Single Asset Funds, this new community is built around this, which is, we wanted to build a community to help you communicate, get questions answered, and meet other members. So when you join, you get private community access. You get to meet all the other people in the group that are under Single Asset Funds that are all doing this together. Okay. Now on this, I'm going to mention a note. I'll bring it up later. Today's group is, we're only looking for 50 founding members of this Single Asset Fund product. This is the first time we've ever opened this up publicly to anybody, and we're looking not for everybody. We're looking only for 50 founding members, and all of you will be in a private community with myself, the coaches, just 50 people to help you launch your single asset funds. The reason we're doing that, number 1, we can only help so many people. We want to really work and help you through this process. Number 2, we want to get you real world results. We want to highlight some of the people that come through single asset funds. We want them to be our rock stars. And the next time I do a webinar, I want you on the call talking about your experience doing your single asset fund. And we want to tailor it down. 50 people is about the right number that we believe would be the perfect group to launch this as founding members, okay? So what you get as well is private community access. Now, in addition to that, What we found was it's hard to build a full Excel model or pro forma, but easy to plug your data into somebody else's model. So on the platform, we paid actually a group $10,000 just for one of their Excel models. They built a full custom Excel model. This is not a joke. I have to be compliant. We run compliance, everything through our checks. Like, this is an actual real number. I could show you the wire. We wired them $10,000 to build us very in-depth Excel models that are templates that you can use for your fund. So these are plug and play templates. You can download them, you can break them, and then just download a new copy. But it's because it's very easy to plug into somebody else's template. It's hard to go out and build your whole Excel model, hence why it costs $10,000 to build this thing. So this is plug and play. When you join Single Asset Funds, you'll get access to all the Excel models in the platform. You can plug and play and use them for your real estate fund, private equity fund, debt fund, whatever type of fund you're doing. They work across all, and that's why it costs so much money, because it's every single asset class can work inside of these Excel models. So isn't that awesome? This is pretty fun that we put this together. Now, I'm going to keep going. You guys cool if I keep going? You're probably, as you go, you're probably going to need help with marketing, funnels, websites. How do you put together your offering docs? So inside of the Fund Launch platform as well, you'll have access to Fund Launch 360 that we're now merging into this Fund Launch platform. If you're not aware of Fund Launch 360, our Black Card members have been using this for months. I use this for both of my funds right now. This is a full CRM and investor pipeline, website builder. I use this for Ugly Unicorn, Fund Launch Partners. We track all of our investors' marketing automations. I send all my emails out of here, texts, everything out of Fund Launch 360. If you've ever wondered, like, how do I put this all together? This platform is amazing. And again, built for fund managers. It's built for people that are doing the same thing you are doing right now. On the back end, we have a full fundraising toolkit, AML, KYC, capital calls, distribution management, bank integrations, all on the back end of Fund Launch 360 that we've recently added, okay? So again, for Single Asset Funds, when you join today as one of the 50 founding members, there's the Fund Launch platform, like I mentioned earlier, the full platform that has AI, the fund builder, all included. Number 2, 4 office hours a week, group coaching. Number 3, professional Excel models that you can plug and play and plug into your fund. And then Fund Launch 360, CRM, website builder, email, SMS, automations, and more, okay? Now, if that wasn't enough, how many of you would like the legal help putting your docs together? What we saw is everyone that's coming through and doing single asset funds all need help with legal, because you want to make sure when you're building out a single asset fund that it's compliant, that it's filed correctly, that it builds confidence with investors when it's done this way, and then something that can scale, that can do, fund 2, fund 3, fund 4, as you build out multiple deals for single asset funds. So furthermore, one of the biggest problems with this world of money raising is what I call you don't know what you don't know, or the unknowns of the unknown. One of the scariest things about, frankly, raising capital, running a fund is like, I don't even know what I don't know. Anybody ever had that before? Like, I don't even know the questions to ask about the thing I should be asking on. And so before we obviously have coaches, we have teams, we have the software to help you figure out those unknowns of unknowns. But with legal, you have to make sure it's perfect. You do not want to just kind of guess and hope your legal is done correctly. So we wanted to make sure this process was easy and very compliant to make sure that anything. So we are including, for all 50 founding members, full legal setup for your single asset fund is included in today's offer, which is pretty awesome. So what this includes, you get fund filing formation. So for your management co, your GP, your first limited partnership, filed agent and registered agent, baseline fund documents, your LPA, your management, your operating agreements, your summary of fund terms, formation council, banking setup, and then furthermore, capital raising, fund closing, asset management, all on the software included, and integrated compliance, etc. in there. This is kind of how it looks in here. It would be in the platform. It helps you build out all the docs with you, works all on platform with the legal teams and everybody involved to get you a deal portal, all your decks, all your documents organized in one place. You plug and play into here, and it can generate docs that are then, at the end, approved by a lawyer to review everything before you sign off and launch your fund. Years ago, this would have cost $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. Now today, we're including this in today's offer with single asset funds. This is kind of awesome, little Michael and Dwight action. I'm a big Office fan if you didn't know that. Furthermore, available add-ons if you would like. If you want further legal counsel, you're welcome to pay per hour. You can also do your Blue Sky filing fees, accredited investor verification, 3C7 funds or Form 80V filings as you go forward and build out your second, third, fifth, international fund, whatever. We have all these different add-ons that you can add on later with single asset funds. Okay. So again, you get the Fund Launch platform. You get the group consulting and coaching, professional Excel models, Fund Launch 360, and full legal setup when you join today with single asset funds. So again, this is like having the future plans, the blueprint here, and we're the ones coming in to help implement it. You know, it'd be funny if you're building a house. A lot of us, we do this with our businesses. We don't realize it. If you're building a house, you probably wouldn't go and learn how to be a plumber so that you could do your own plumbing. And then you would go learn how to be an electrician to do your own electrical work. And then you go learn how to be a concrete guy to do all the concrete. You'd probably have just the plans and you'd hire that out and use other people's expertise to get to their result faster. Same thing's true with building a business. If you look at anybody in business, no one does this alone. Look at Elon Musk, take Jeff Bezos, take whatever the name is. All of them use teams. All of them use different people with expertise to make it happen. And that's what we're helping you do today to actually execute on your single asset fund. Isn't that kind of cool? Wouldn't that be cool to have? So now Black Card for a full fund. A lot of our Black Cards members, Black Cards anywhere from $25,000 to $45,000 depending on what you're doing. We've had now over 1,000 members join Black Card, which is just bonkers. We've launched hundreds of funds out of Black Card. But since you're doing a single asset fund, we actually can do this cheaper because one fund at a time is a lot cheaper on the legal side and the compliance side for doing a single asset fund. So normally this product would cost about $12,000 to $15,000. But because you're in this first group, we want to build this with you and we want to highlight some of our best success stories. Talk about 50 founding members. I really do want to help you succeed and highlight some of the best stories out of here and showing how single asset funds work. This is the first time we've ever opened this product, so we want to make sure it crushes and people get real world results fast. So that's why we're limiting it to just 50 people. So we're opening this up to 50 founding members today that want to join. And how this works. So normally this product would be $12,000 to $15,000, but for our 50 founding members, we're going to slash that price down to people can join today for only $7,500. Again, this is for only the first 50 people that want to join as founding members. So again, this gets you the full Fund Launch platform, brand new built fund builder, guided platform for your asset track on the back end. Number two, this is your full consulting. You get to hop on with 4 different coaches, all talking about different things throughout the week. You can do group coaching and you can hire back on coaching as well. You get the professional Excel models. That alone was $10,000 to add to the program. You get the Fund Launch 360, CRM, website builder, email, SMS, automations, and more, and the full fund legal setup to set up and do and launch your single asset fund with a lawyer sign off and everything done at the end to make sure it's buttoned up and compliant when you launch. Okay. Total today for $7,500. Now, as a bonus for founding members, we're going to do something kind of fun for our founding members. Hey, when you're one of the first 50 founding members, we're actually doing an onboarding lunch right after this call. So once we're done, just in a few minutes, we're going to do a live Zoom call. I'm going to have you flip on your cameras. We're going to talk face to face. You'll get to meet me and some of the other coaches. We're going to come and actually onboard you. You'll be the first people ever to onboard onto this platform. That being said, we are going to do a numbered card for founding members on the platform. I zoomed this in on the platform. You can see here for the first 50 people, what was kind of cool is we're actually going to number you here. So you can see number 87. I joined a mastermind recently. I was number 24 and everything was numbered 24 because I was the 24th member to ever join this mastermind. I thought it was kind of a cool idea. Since this is a brand new product, you guys are founding members. As you join, you'll be numbered. So the first person that joins today will be number 1. The second will be number 2. The third will be number 3, all the way up, which is kind of a cool thing. Furthermore, this will be public for people and I didn't mention this earlier, it's a lifetime membership inside of single asset funds. You get this for life. Black Card members too, we're going to be adding this in as well to show when you joined in Black Card and which number you are in the platform, which is pretty cool. So today, whoever is the first person in literally is going to get number 1. I took 87 here just so that I wouldn't take one of the first 50 to give you an example of what this looks like. Okay, as an additional bonus for just founding members, have anybody seen this is our headquarters. We have a full indoor basketball court at our headquarters in Utah. Anybody want to come hang out with us in person and maybe do a full deep dive one day on single asset funds to get you started, maybe get things moving, answer questions. There's something magical about being in person. So what we're going to do for just the founding members, we're doing an event June 12th in Lehi, Utah, where you can fly out, shake hands, be with us. We'll have the coaches in town that we'll actually do in this basketball court gym, where we're going to walk and help you figure out your single asset fund. Wouldn't that be kind of cool? Anybody want to come to that? Okay. So a bonus for founding members, June 12th, you're going to come. If you can't make it to Utah, no worries. We will live stream this as well, and you can see the live stream. But there is something magical about being in person, but you're welcome to chime in as well on the live stream. We can do both. So again, to summarize, when you join Single Asset Funds today, you get the Fund Launch platform, brand new custom-made platform. You get consulting, the 4 group coaching calls per week, professional Excel models, Fund Launch 360, and full legal setup. And the bonuses for founding members, you get an onboarding lunch in just a few minutes, numbered founder card, and in-person event June 12th at Fund Launch headquarters, okay? Now, how many of you would like a payment plan? $7,500 might seem like a lot. Payment plans are available today. We actually just struck a partnership with Klarna and Affirm where you can come in and actually finance these things. This is we actually ran Mason, my business partner, through Affirm and Klarna. These are the real terms that he got on this product just a few days ago. Now, this depends on your credit and your availability, but I'll zoom this in. He was able to start 0% interest and 0 today for $1,250 a month, all the way, and you see down here, as low as $272 a month for 36 months. You can pick a payment plan option. That's all available on the checkout page if you would like a payment plan as well to do single asset funds. Makes it a little bit easier to digest if that's a concern, okay? As low as $272 a month, which is awesome, working with Klarna and Affirm, 2 big, huge names that finally partner with us, and now we put this on our products as well. Okay, if that wasn't enough, one last thing. For our 50 founding members that joined today, we want to do something special because I know you guys are going to play bigger. We just listened to 10X is easier than 2X from Ben Hardy and talking about the number of deals you're going to do in the future. Instead of just doing one deal, of the 50 founding members, you actually get to do a full extra legal setup. So you're not going to be able to do one deal. You can do actually 2 deals through the platform for the same price. So we're going to include a full second fund legal setup for the same price as before as a founding member of the Single Asset Fund platform. Okay, so again, and we're going to cover the entire cost of the second fund. Okay, so it's the same price as doing, as that other people would get. You guys are going to get not 1, but 2 single asset funds when you join today as one of the 50 founding members. So again, you get the Fund Launch platform, you get the group consulting, the professional Excel models, Fund Launch 360, full fund legal setup, onboarding lunch in a few minutes, numbered founder card, in-person event June 12th, and extra single asset fund legal setup. Okay. Now, you can reserve your spot today, and we're going to close this out by Monday. I'm going to open the link here in a couple minutes. Excuse me, not a couple minutes, about 30 seconds from now. I'm going to open this link up. This is the first 50 people, or we're going to close this Monday, whatever comes first. We're pretty confident, though, we're going to hit that 50 people pretty soon, and let me tell you why. Right now, we have roughly, 450 to 500 people live right now on Zoom. We also were streaming this on X and YouTube. I do not know how many people are live on those platforms, but yesterday was a few hundred people there that are going to see this offer right now. After this call is done today, we're going to send this out to our 250,000 person email list. After that, we're going to post this to our 350,000 social media followers. And we're looking for 50 spots between now and Monday as founding members. We're very confident this is going to go fast. It might be gone here in the next few minutes. So if you're someone who wants to be one of those 50 spots, I'm going to give you a second here. We're going to drop the link, and it's first come, first serve. Again, we have the numbered platform. You're going to be numbered. The first person that comes in is number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Okay, we're numbering people come in, and we're bringing this. All these bonuses are just for the 50 people that joined today. All right, you guys ready for the link? I'll give you a second here if you want to grab a credit card or something around you, because it is first come, first serve. Once the 50 are gone, the bonuses, everything is gone for those first 50 founding members that get lifetime access to this. Y'all ready? Give me a little drum roll, please. So if you're ready to go, ready, set, go. There's the link. So you can join today for $7,500. Fundlaunch.com/single asset funds is the link. There it is, fundlaunch.com/SAF. Go right now. First come, first serve for 50 people. We'll drop the link in the chat as well. I think my team members are dropping that right now. Go click on that link. You can lock in payment plans as low as $297 a month using Affirm or Klarna. In terms of, they're different for each person. So again, you get the full Fund Launch platform, the consulting, professional Excel models, Fund Launch 360, full legal setup. As a bonus, you're going to fly out to Utah on June 12th or live stream it as we do a full 1-day session on single asset funds. You get the founding card, the number card, and we're doing an onboarding session in just a few minutes right after this call is done. Okay, so grab that link, fundlaunch.com/single asset funds. Now, as another bonus for founding members, I forgot to mention this, you're going to get a $100 credit for our merch store. We just launched our merch store. You're the first people to ever see this live. This is the new Fund Manager merch store. Here's a few items here. You get a $100 credit on the merch store as a founding member today. That'll be shipped directly to your house. Furthermore, you can even plug in your own fund's logo and take off our logo and pop it in. These are all very high quality. I'm talking Lululemon, Viore, Travis Matthew, quality material that we sourced. It took us a long time to source the right material. You guys get a $100 credit from our merch store. As a founding member, you can put your own logos on your hat, on your merch there. Isn't that kind of cool? Furthermore, now, if you're still on the fence, and right now you guys can go and check out. We're going to number them. We'll bring them up on the list right now. But go click that link. You can go over to open Safari Chrome. Now, if you're still on the fence, and that's the, I don't know if I should do this, is the right fit for me. We wanted to make this a no-brainer for you. So anyone that joins today, we're doing a 30-day money-back guarantee, okay? We'll put our money where our mouth is. If you come in, if you don't like the platform, if it doesn't work out for you, for whatever reason it breaks, I don't know, whatever doesn't work, send us an email. We'll totally refund you. No questions asked, okay? If this isn't the right message, send us a message. We can refund your money. That's how confident we are in the success of this product and how excited we are to launch this for you. We'll give you a full 30-day money-back guarantee. Now, the little asterisk here, if you go through and launch your full single asset fund in 30 days, you can't get a refund then, all right? So if you're already launched, you've used the legal services, we're not going to give you a refund, but that means you probably were pretty successful and already launched around your fund. Sound good? Okay, but if you come in and for whatever reason it doesn't work out, 30-day money-back guarantee. So today is not a yes or no. Today is just a maybe. When you join today, it's just a maybe. Because you're coming in, you can come in, test. It's hard to, it's hard to buy a car if you don't test drive it. This is a chance for you to come in and test drive the car before you make a full decision. And we're pretty confident this is going to knock your socks off. Okay. So again, you get the full Fund Launch platform, consulting, the professional Excel models, Fund Launch 360, and full fund legal setup when you join today. And the bonus is you get an onboarding lunch. We're doing a few minutes, numbered founder cars, in-person event June 12th, and an extra. You can now launch 2 single asset funds on the platform. And I didn't add it here. And you get a $100 credit for merch when you join today, all with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So I'm going to start a little timer here. Let's see if this will work. All right. Well, we'll keep it going then. Here. Oh, sorry. There we go. Fundlaunch.com/single asset funds. You can join for $7,500 today and lock in payment plans as low as $297 today. Let's do this. You guys want to see kind of how it looks? So open up right now. You can open up Chrome, Safari, Google. This is actually what the back end of the platform looks like. Okay, so you log in. Once you come through, well, let me show you real quick. If you go to just fundlaunch.com/SAF, go right here. This is what the landing page will look like. So join the single asset fund incubator. This is what it looks like. And if you want to look down, you can look at some of the stuff. Become a founding member today for the first 50 people. You'll come pop in your name, email, phone number, and you can join for $7,500. But down below, you can look at what this incubator includes, what's involved, all the stuff I just talked about. You can meet some of the, there's me, my beautiful face there, some of the people we've worked with. What other people in the past have said about working with Fund Launch. We've had over 100,000 people take one of our programs. We're not new at this. You can see some of the reviews of what people have talked to us about. You can go click into what Christian said here. You can go click into what Joe said about their, working with Fund Launch. You can also look at some frequently asked questions down below for single asset funds. Again, all for a 30-day money back guarantee. You'll come in, you put in your name, your last name, email, phone number. Maybe hide my screen for a second. I'm going to put this in here. I don't want you guys all calling me, okay? Bridger@fundlaunch.com. I'll put in my phone number here. Okay. Let's make sure this works. I think it's working. It'll bring you through to your confirmation page. Okay, so you come through, it'll say like this. You can show my screen again. So once you buy, it'll say, welcome, thank you for purchasing single asset funds. You're going to get an email with the login details and details to come to the private call in a few minutes. Once you click on that email, it should invite you over to log into the back end of the platform. So here it is. You can come see what the platform looks like. You can kind of play around. You can come pop in. You can see the calendar for the consulting. So next week, we've got our deals live. So you can come see, we have office hours. Today's May 7th. Next week, we're going to be doing, Dan Pearson's going to be going live for private equity. You can see the calls here. I can join the Zoom room. It actually bring me right into the Zoom room from the platform. I can come over here. I can click into the incubator. I can go into the fund builder, which I talked about earlier. It's going to start asking me questions on how my thesis, my core thesis, what am I doing? It's going to ask me, and I can start building out my fund blueprint here as I go. So as I pop in and start working through the fund thesis, my blueprint, it's going to kind of train me on what I'm doing here, what I should put in, then I come and I can enter in details of what I'm thinking and working on. If I ever need help, I can talk to my AI assistant right here to build on the platform. Furthermore, this all summarizes into a progress tracker down below. Let's click into the incubator again. So here we are. The blueprint builds out the full build, and I can click through here as I go through a lot of different ways to go through. You can go in and work on the platform here. Let me go back here. So we'll say here, you have Fund Launch 360 here, access to Paper OS, your credits and services. So we're going to be populating this, but you have your 2 fund formation here, right? We also have the events. So be able to click in, see the events, and you also see the events tab down here. You can join the Single Asset Fund workshop on June 12th here. So everything's on the platform here. You also can join our communications channels. You come and communicate with the group. Come join us on our group right here. You can join office hours here and enable your Zoom to work. And in the near future, we're going to add all the communications here on the platform, which is pretty cool. Okay. So we'll go back here. Welcome in, y'all. Let me go back to, has a little walkthrough. It'll kind of train me on how to use the platform here. Walk me through the dashboard and everything as it onboards me on. Isn't this kind of cool? Okay. Brand new platform that's just live today. So if I come back to my PowerPoint again, so you can join today for $7,500, lock in low prices at $297 per month, fundlaunch.com/single asset funds. Okay, what questions can I answer? Let's pull them open here. Maybe can you pull up the chat for me? It'd be great, just on the screen. Okay, question number 1. Can I bring with a partner? How does this work? Yes, so the answer is if you had a partner, you will join under one account. But on the platform, we have the ability to add 2 people to your account. So you'll both use the same account under one person. So you have the same fund. It's all building together. It's actually kind of cool. So your partner could come in or you could come in. You guys can both build out in the side of the fund builder together. Okay. Is there ongoing fees? No, this is a one-time fee, $7,500. You are in. Okay. There's no monthly after that or whatever. It's one-time fee of $7,500, or you can join a payment plan, but that is it for now. In the future, it'll probably move to that, but as a founding member, you're grandfathered into everything in the future. So all the roadmap, as founding members, you're grandfathered into everything, which is kind of cool. Okay. Let's see. What's the price after the top 50 and what it excludes? We're actually closing it after the first 50. So first 50 you're coming in, we're actually going to close this and just work with the first 50. So if you want to wait, that's fine, but we're closing this down. After 50 is gone, we are closing it. Okay. So it's closing down. You can start as low as 0% APR on financing. Where is that? 30-day money back guarantee. You can see some of the options here. If I go back to this, here's some of the options that were, at least for when we ran through our team, this is some of the options that are brought up for Affirm and Klarna. This will change based on, your credit. It does a soft pull on your credit. It does not do a hard pull on your credit with Klarna and Affirm, but it would give you different terms depending on, what questions you answer. But this is what the terms that we got when we went through it, which are pretty decent terms. This one on the left is Affirm. This on the right was Klarna. Both were about the same. So use whatever one you're more comfortable with or use in the past if you're going to use a payment plan. Kind of cool though. Question, does this work for international people? Good question. So one of our coaches is actually in Canada. So Ben, you actually meet Ben tomorrow. He's coming on live for day 3. Ben is in Canada. So we can work with people in Canada, but this is primarily for people in the United States. So for the first founding members, the legal docs, all the stuff is meant for people that are raising money inside of the United States. Ben can help people in Canada. The legal though does not work. The legal as it currently sits is only for people in the United States. Yep. For people that just joined you should get an email. We'll contact you as well for an onboarding link and go from there. Michael saying it doesn't accept my Canadian phone number. Let's try, use a different page. Sometimes we overload our pages sometimes. Adam Smith is dropping it in the chat. We can also drop it in on the YouTube channel as well. Try the backup page. Furthermore, if you're stuck or maybe you got a few more questions, if you would like to talk to someone, you can actually book a call with someone on our team. Okay. So on the page, I believe there's a spot on there. You actually can book a call with our team Furthermore, we'll drop a link here in the chat, and you can, if maybe those don't work for you well, send me an email to bridger@fundlaunch.com. Maybe drop that in the chat. So send me, if for whatever reason it's glitching out on you, send me an email to bridger@fundlaunch.com. We have a team of, I think, 7 or 8 individuals that are all trained by me that you guys can talk to as well. You can join the 50 founding members. It's open today until Monday at midnight. That is when it closes. Or if we get 50 founding members first. So it did not accept 3 phone numbers I tried. Finally was able to get it to accept the 4th number. Interesting. Okay. So if you're having problems with the phone number, maybe book a call with our team. Try it again though. Maybe Adam Smith, if you're over there, I'm looking out my window. Let's make sure that if someone's having a problem with their phone number, you can just, and one of my team members can message you, Daniel, live right now, and make sure your phone number works. If it didn't accept your phone number. Oh, you had to use the right format. Interesting. No hyphens, just a 1 in the front. Okay, make sure you use no hyphens, just 1 in the front. Okay. If you're having issues with phone numbers, just book a call with our team though. Adam can drop that in the chat. No hyphens, just a 1 in the front. That didn't work for me, so try again there. If you're having trouble, Adam just dropped in. It goes right to a checkout page. So you don't have to put your phone number in. You can just go up to the backup page. No phone number if that's giving you problems. Okay, so that's checkout.fundlaunch.com/B, and then you'll see the link there. So go click on that link. So again, you can join today for $7,500, fundlaunch.com/SAF. Okay, what other questions we got? Okay, does this work if I'm doing one-off deals? Yes, so single asset funds, this is meant for one-on-one deals. Can you do multiple deals out of here? Yes, so you have 2 deals. You can also do, we've seen some people do like a single asset fund or they do 2 or 3 assets in one together. We have seen people do that as well. Primarily this is for people that are doing a deal at a time. And this could be your first deal. It could be your 10th deal. These people that are coming in. All right, we've got first 10 right here. Okay, and then 20 confirming right now. We might with a firm. Okay, so we've got 10 that have already joined, and I'm going to read your names in order, which is pretty cool. So we'll have you guys numbered, and then we have 20 right now going through a firm, which is bringing us to about 30. So we might hit the 50 right now. So if you're on the fence, we might hit the 50 on the call right now. So you guys want to know the first person that joined? We'll give them some kudos. Chelsea. Number 1, you're going to be the number 1 listed person on the platform. So congrats, Chelsea, to you. Your founding card, if I pull it up again, will have literally the number 1 on it, which is pretty cool. And you'll keep that forever with you as the number 1 bonus founding member. So I'm going back here. Here it is. This will be numbered 1 when you join the platform. Number 2 is Thomas. Number 3 is Jeff. Number 4 is Steven. Number 5 is Jay. Number 6 is Jamie. Number 7 is Derek. Number 8 is Daniel. Number 9 is David. That's awesome. Very cool. Congrats, y'all. And then we have 20 going through with a firm right now. So we'll watch as you guys come in and keep grabbing that spot. Number 8, so many. I love it. Well, we didn't say we didn't know if they want to hear their last names. We just did their first names. So Chelsea, Thomas, Jeff, Stephen, Ray, Jamie, Derek, Daniel, and David. Welcome in, y'all. Good to have y'all. Number 8, Daniel. I love it. So many generic names. LOL. Yeah. We got 20 people going through a firm. We'll read them off as they come in as well. So welcome in, founding members. I'm excited to work with you. I'm excited to have you out in Salt Lake City and we'll be at the headquarters here. We can even maybe we'll play a little pickup basketball game. Made the top 10, Ray. That's awesome. I love it. We'll keep going. They're still writing names down, so I don't know which one we are on right now, which number, but top 50, you'll be one of those first 50 members. We'll do a little bonus for whoever is number, we got 20 confirming right now. I'll do whoever is number 22, okay? Whoever's number 22, that was my number in sports growing up. I was always number 22. I'll talk. Yeah, I was an amazing athlete back in the day, just like everybody says 10 years later. I crushed it. I was amazing. I should have went pro. I was number 22 though. Whoever is number 22, just kidding. I was a decent athlete, but nothing pro level. Number 22 though, I'm gonna give you an extra $100 gift card on the merch store. So instead of getting $100, you're gonna get $200 merch for whoever is number 22 gets an extra $100 in merch. Okay, so keep going out. Checkout link works, but it skips a firm, which I need. Oh, you need a firm. Okay, Michael. Maybe Michael right now, my team might be live. Let's message Michael privately. We can help you. We actually have members of my team that actually can hop on a call with you literally right now that are live. So let's message you. We'll message you privately. We can drop you a phone number and or talk to you live. Michael sent you, or you can send an email to bridger@fundlaunch.com. So, and we'll get on the phone with you in the next 3 or 4 minutes. Pretty fun though. Welcome in, y'all. Let's get some single asset funds launched. The reason I love this so much too, the jump to doing a full out fund is such a big jump for people. And just for anybody, if you've never done a certain number of deals, jumping to a full out fund is hard. And so having people come in and do one deal at a time for an incredibly reasonable price, $7,500 is pretty awesome. And so you can come in, do a deal, do another deal, build a track record, start building your reputation as a fund and asset manager as you go through and build out your portfolio over the next 5, 10, 15 years, I think is really cool. Furthermore, another question, people in Black Card, do I have access to this? Can I use this? If you're a member of Black Card right now and you'd like to have access to this, we treat our people right. You're a member of Black Card, which is the higher tier, and maybe you're like, hey, I really should do single asset funds. Send me a message on Slack. You guys all have my Slack. Shoot me a message and or Forrest. But what we're going to do, if you want to convert your Black Card legal over to single asset funds, you can do 4 single asset funds for what you were going to do for 1 fund in the full Black Card program. Does that make sense? So if you're a Black Card member, you can convert over if you'd like. You can do 4 single asset funds for what you were going to do for 1 fund in the first. Cool. All right. Welcome in, y'all. If you're having trouble with anybody else having trouble with the phone number thing, try to check out the backup page that we have live. Yeah. Good. Edgar, what's the limit of capital that can be raised for this fund? What's really cool is the answer is unlimited. It really is. From the SEC documents, when you file a Reg D 506B or 506C fund, you can raise unlimited amounts of capital for a single asset fund. There's no cap. That's right from the SEC. Isn't that pretty cool? That's why 99% of private money in the world runs through a GPLP structure. And they use either single asset funds or multi-asset funds. Isn't that pretty cool? Said, when will you expand to the UK? Good question. We actually have coaches that we're working right now in Europe, and we've rolled that out into Black Card. For single asset funds, we may roll that out in the near future, but we'll see. Now, Said, if you're raising money out of the United States, then I would still do a US single asset fund. But if you're in the UK raising money out of the UK, at least currently as we're structured, the legal piece will not help you. However, if you wanted to join and still be part of the community, still go through the fund builder, all the stuff is the same, whether in the UK or the United States. Just the legal piece would not work. So if you're in the UK, if you're in Australia, if you're in Dubai and want to join, you're totally welcome to join. The legal piece is really only for US domestic funds, but the rest of the platform, all the other cool stuff here. Where's my link here? All the other cool stuff. The Fund Launch 360, professional Excel models, the consulting, and the platform all works great if you're in the UK or anywhere else. Isn't that pretty cool? So you can go there. Question on licenses. Won't you need a Series 65 if you exceed 150 million AUM? Yeah, so you can raise unlimited amounts of capital once you hit 150 million. Generally speaking, depends on the specific assets you're doing. They'll want you to have a Series 65 and register as a registered investment advisor once you hit 150 million of assets under management. There are some exceptions to that rule, depending on which, what you're doing, which asset you're buying, which state you're in. There are a few exceptions, but yeah, that's generally speaking. Below $150 million, back to licenses. A lot of times, because it's a single asset fund, you can have exemptions for real estate funds, for example. Venture capital funds have certain exemptions. You file at the state level. Furthermore, you can be an exempt reporting advisor, and a lot of times you don't need a license. In some cases you do. Hedge funds, for example, if you're doing like a commodities trading hedge fund, you have to register for the CFTC and other things like that. And sometimes you need funds, but we'll talk about all that on our office hours and how to put that together. Just saw we have 45 people on the site right now actively checking out, which is awesome. We might hit the 50 right now, the 50 founding members, which is really cool. So welcome in. Whoever's number 22 is gonna get a extra $100 in the merch store. Let's do this. Let's do number 22, number 33, and number 44 are gonna get extra $100 on the merch store for $200 total. And we'll do whoever is the last person in 50, spot number 50, we'll do an extra $100 as well. So we'll see where we're at. My team's getting things ready. We'll see how that comes together here in a few minutes. We'll go from there. I'll answer a few more questions. Will this work for a global fund of funds? Generally speaking, a single asset fund doesn't work for a traditional fund of funds model. Now, could you aggregate capital and invest into one fund? Yes, that could work. If you're going to do a true fund of funds where you raise money and you're investing into like 10 funds, that probably wouldn't work well through a single asset fund. Furthermore, there's sometimes some registration problems you have there. So we generally push people away from that. But if you're raising money and maybe going to one fund, that's totally what you can do. Yeah. Do investors have to be accredited investors? It depends. For some funds, yes, but actually there's an exemption under Regulation D 506B. You can raise from 35 non-accredited investors for your single asset fund. So you can get 35 non-accrediteds and then, up to 99 accredited investors, or maybe it'd be the remaining amount. So, what was it? 35, it'd be an additional, do my math here, 45 accredited investors that you could bring in there for that one under a 3C1 fund. A little different nuances. So some, yes, accredited, but you actually can raise a lot of times from 35 non-accredited investors. There's also different nuances. You can raise from a 504 fund, all under the single asset funds. We dive deep in that in the platform where you guys can put that together. What is the refund policy? Again, I may have a conflict funding structure that I'm already have in the process. So refund, 30-day money back guarantee. Yeah, if this is not the right fit for you, for whatever reason, it's not the right fit, the next 30 days, you can send us a message and refund. This is a brand new product. We get that. And so we're going to put our money where our mouth is. We want to over deliver, go all out. That's why I have my expert coaches from Blackcard, former Blackcard members coming in. Myself, I'm going to be involved. We're going live 4 times next week to help make sure that you are working well. So all that being said, now the one caveat, if you go through and launch your fund using the legal services in the next 30 days, that voids the refund. Okay. Meaning you went and launched your full fund. It worked. You can't then ask for a refund once you go through the whole process. Does that sound good? Does that sound fair? Hopefully that makes sense. So today's not a yes or no. Today's a maybe, right? Come on in, test it out. Come test drive the car. See if it fits, see if it works, see if it smells right. I'm very confident you're going to love being in our community, being with us. And we'll do the onboarding call in here in a few minutes. It should be pretty fun. All right, one last time. We have the Fund Launch platform, consulting, professional Excel models, Fund Launch 360, full legal setup, and the bonuses, onboarding lunch today, numbered founder card, in-person event June 12th, and extra SAF legal setup. Okay, we're going to leave this live. The checkout's still live. My team is live, so you can message. If you're having problems, if the phone number thing isn't working, message my team. You can hop. We have people live right now. They're all very friendly, super nice people. They're all trained by me. They're really nice people. A lot of them are sitting outside my office right now, can hop on a phone call with you to make sure it checks out the right way, or send me an email to bridger@fundlaunch.com or use the backup checkout badge. Wow, we're going to leave this live, but I want to bring on Alexis Morgan to come on and talk for a few minutes. Now, let me queue up Alexis. Maybe bring her on. You can get her queued up as well. So Alexis Morgan. And by the way, we're still doing the numbers for 22, 33, 44, and number 50. You're going to get a $200 bonus for the merch store as a credit when they join today. So we're at least my team is telling me we might hit the 50 people right now. Once we hit 50, we're locking it up for our founding members for 50 people on live today. Okay. So Alexis Morgan, let me tell you about her for a second. She's ready. Yeah, just pull her screen up so I can see her. I'm going to introduce her, but you can bring her on live right now. So Alexis, sorry to come on a little bit late. I know she was planning on. I hope her schedule is still good. I went a little bit long today. But this is Alexis here. At 20 years old, has already, I'll let her say her stats, but my understanding is raised $15 million, is primarily lending this money out, so doing private credit where she's doing loans for people, and has done an incredible job breaking into this industry at an incredibly young age and starting this. So if you guys can in the chat, give a huge welcome. Say welcome Alexis on. Good to have you here, Alexis. Can you hear me? Are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. I'm excited to be here. Thank you, Bridger.
Yeah, good to have you on. So, well, if people haven't met you, I gave you an okay overview. Give us maybe 30 seconds on you, what you're doing right now, the numbers. I know you're always raising money and doing more deals. So give us a little bit update on you.
Yeah, that's right. I'm constantly raising this whole game of funds and fund launching. You have to be always raising capital. But similar to what you said, I have experience in the private credit and lending space. I hang out in the real estate space. And so my fund was launched around giving loans, first position loans out to fix and flippers in my local market. And through that kind of channel and through that vehicle, I raised $15 million and rinse and repeat that money, and continuing to raise now, growing the fund.
Yeah, I love this, Alexis. I'm excited to dive in. Good to have you here. So Alexis, someone's sitting there like, how in the world? So I used my story. I launched at 22 years old,
Yep.
but I had a dad that helped me, and I had a brother, and I had a pretty good, family setup to get me in this space. How in the world does someone like you at 20 years old break in and raise $15 million? I mean, that's phenomenal. That is so amazing. Give us your background, your story a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, when I started, one of the things I heard from you, Bridger, that changed my life, I tell people this all the time. This quote I can never forget. You could be running as hard as possible, working as hard as humanly possible, yet if I'm on a skateboard or I'm on a bike, I'm going to go faster and further than you with less effort. And I was like, oh my God, the vehicle you're in matters. I was a really hardworking entrepreneur, but I was in the wrong vehicle. The vehicle I was in.
What were you doing before?
I was wholesaling real estate, which
okay.
caps out at about $15 million a year in top line revenue.
Hmm.
No matter how hard I was working wholesaling, I probably couldn't push that, ceiling. And so, looking at the opportunities, looking at everything on the horizon, I was like, well, smart people. I looked at people like Pace Morby, Grant Cardone, the people who are influencers in this space, looking at what they do, not what they teach, following all the principles,
Yeah.
And they all are raising money for investment opportunities. And that's when I flipped the switch and I was like, okay, I'm going to start raising funds from investors. And I had a business partner at the time who was lending out a bunch of money. And I was like, hey, we can pour gasoline on this fire by raising money from other investors and continuing to do more and more loans. And there's no cap on how much we can do in that vehicle.
I love that conversation around, vehicle. That same analogy stuck out to me so much. Like, someone could be fat and overweight, but if they're driving a car and I'm a world-class runner, they're still going to beat me, meaning they're in a better business model than I am in. So cool, Alexis. So you had a partner you're doing this with,
Yes.
which, by the way, is awesome. Find great partners. I love that.
Yes.
When did you join? You joined Black Card and worked with us. When was that?
I joined Black Card in 2023, and that's a big part that I want to emphasize and touch on, the partnerships. This whole fund game, this launching of fund, single asset fund, or a blind pool fund, you need a team, right? And in order for things to work and things to go well, you need, hey, you have your skill set, do what you're good at, someone else has their skill set. And that was a big part of my success, leveraging the team in the Black Card community. I could go to Dan Pearson and ask about a waterfall structure with debt specifically. I could go to Ben and ask about something with real estate. I could go to Adam and ask about, hey, what do the fund finances look like? How do I need to manage? Having access to expertise is what really gets you across the finish line. Because when I started, before I joined Black Card, this information is just non-existent online. The information, the access, the relationships, it's very hard to, hustle your way into this industry. You have to have the right connections. You have to have the resources for sure.
Such a cool thing. While we're just pause for a second, if you can just share my screen one more time. This is still live. If people are coming in, still keep working on it. We're still going. Message my team if you need help. I know people on here like, hey, I need help with a phone number. Hopping on call. It's totally live still. We'll type in the chat. You guys are good to go. We can get you in for the first 50 people that comes in. So make sure the phone number works. If it doesn't work, give us a call and we can make sure it's working as well. So, my team as well. If you're struggling, just say, hey, I need help. We'll message you privately. We'll hop on literally a phone call with you right now and make sure it works to get you in that first 50 from there. Sweet. Mason just typed on my board. We're at 21 confirmed. We have another, 45 actively checking out right now. So 21 confirmed. There's a little bit of a lag with a firm approval, so that's okay. Wait for a firm. It's going to get back to you in the next few minutes, so just stay on with us for the next bit here. Alexis, let's get back to you. So walk me through pulling capital together at a young age. Now, if I understand correctly, you've pulled a lot of debt capital together, meaning people lend you money and then you lend it out at a bigger rate. Is that a good way of describing that?
That's perfect. That's spot on.
So walk me through, I felt this, but I want to hear from you at a young age, trying to pitch people. Number one, did you feel some imposter syndrome? I bet you did, or obviously some fear, but I think people, even when they're 50, feel that. I don't think it's an age thing. That's just the nature of raising capital. How did you, though, overcome that? What was the process of you overcoming that, reaching out to people, raising capital? How did you go from, baby Alexis to like full grown killing it Alexis? Walk me through that journey.
I love that question. Yeah, what I've learned throughout my time raising capital, and especially when I was in the beginning, I tried to really leverage the fact that the deal. I think when you're raising money, you yourself is not necessarily what you want to pitch. Of course, that's a plus for the investor, but the deal, if the deal makes sense, if someone can plug in numbers and understand how the deal makes sense, then it's just your job to present the deal, to present the opportunity, to clearly communicate the opportunity. I made a big thing when I was starting. I was like, I'm raising for real estate debt. These are just numbers. Like, I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm not trying to persuade you that this is a good idea. This isn't a venture capital firm. Like, the deal is what I'm showing you. And as I continued to raise, I got better and better at pitching the deal. But it always comes back to the unique opportunity. And does that opportunity make sense with or without Alexis's, pretty smile and communication about it?
That's funny you say that, because that's the exact same way I pitched at 22. And actually, that's the same way I still pitch today.
Yep.
It's funny how, and I've got some more credibility. You have more credibility now.
Absolutely.
But still, when I pitch, I go, yeah, we're sharp, we're smart. Let me talk about my team. But Mrs. Investor or Mr. Investor, look at the deal. Let me show you how it works, how it doesn't work, the flaws, the insights. We talked about this earlier, completely transparent.
Yes.
And you tell me, what do you think? Do you think this is a good deal or not? Poke holes in it for me. And a lot of times go, man, you guys have thought through everything. I guess, yeah, you're right. This is pretty darn good. And it's such a great way to get past sometimes, especially if you're brand new. And what I did when I was 22, I leaned into it. I said, I know you probably think I'm young. That's okay. Number one, I'm young. That means I'm going to hustle hard. I'm going to work my guts out. I don't need money. I'm doing this to build you a track record. And I want to impress you so much as the investor that you brag to all of your friends about how great of an experience you had investing with Bridger. Number one, that's my motive here. My motive is not to be a billionaire. My motive is to build a brand and a reputation that Bridger can build upon for the next 30 years. People love that. Number two, just look at the deal. You're a smart investor. Where's the flaws? Poke holes in it for me. And it was so interesting. It built transparency back to the, I asked for advice and I got money versus asking for money and you get advice. Spot on, Alexis. I think that's so great. Walk me through, people in the chat are, wow, she's so young. You're 21 years old. I keep saying 20, but you're 21 right now. How do you feel like you've condensed time? Meaning, and I'll frame this question. I've met people before that are 20 years in business. But in reality, they've relived the same 1 year just 20 times over. You've probably heard that quote before.
Yep.
And they're 20 years in business, but really they're just 1 year repeated 20 times. There's other people I've met that have been in business for 3 years and they've grown substantially and bought for or paid for, it feels like shortcuts, and they've leveled up drastically. You seem like one of those people that have just moved extremely quickly. And that comes back to the age is just a number. You've obviously been, what's driven that? What's been a big driver for you to almost have shortcuts, but a shortcut in a good way, ways that you've leveled up or moved faster maybe than some of your peers?
Yeah, I think it's such a good question. Something that I've done and I continue to do is an equal amount of learning and an equal amount of doing. You see a lot of people who are serial course buyers and they'll buy everything but they're not taking action. Yeah. Competent feedback. You have to be doing something in order to get the feedback from the thing that you bought. So I try to, if I'm gonna purchase something, if I'm gonna go into something new, I'm going all in on that thing for a period of time, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and then I'm taking a period of reflection, getting feedback, and reflecting on how could I improve upon what I've learned. There's a lot of people that just do. Like you said, they've lived the same year of their lives over and over and over, and they never take time to reflect in order to grow. And similarly, there's people that just learn everything and they never take action. And I think the most successful people are doing a little bit of both. And as you continue to level up, as I've done very quickly, you have to continue to upgrade who you're listening to, whose feedback you're taking, and what kind of reflection you're doing. At this point in my business, I don't even look at, what, of course I reflect on my own business, but I have a mentor I take my entire business to also, and I'm like, poke holes in it. What am I doing wrong? How can I improve my systems? Am I leading my team okay? It's an equal amount of doing and learning, and you have to balance these two. You can't be all in on just, all right, I'm gonna go crazy and I'm gonna do everything. You have to take time also to consult with your mentors and reflect on what you've done to confirm you're on the right track with what you're looking to accomplish.
Spot on. I love that. Question: how much have you spent on masterminds and groups in the last few years?
Jeez, I would probably put that number around 75,000 easily.
So at 21 years
For
old,
sure.
you spent $75,000 in groups, coaching, consulting,
Events, all the
events.
things, yeah. And I'm not gonna stop. I would do it again.
Yeah.
It's probably just gonna get more. I'm probably just gonna continue to go up and up and up because that's how you grow. You have to
Well,
continue to level up.
what's funny is people on the chat might be, oh wow, that's a lot of money. Oh my gosh, she spent 75,000. Look at every college kid in America right now that spends what, $200,000 on a 4-year degree that does nothing for them,
Yep.
or very little for them. Take Alexis. If you took 75 grand and spent on coaching mastermind from experts around the world. I know you're in Pace Morby's group. You joined my group. You went to Grant Cardone's thing. I've seen some of your stuff.
Yep.
I believe have found some incredible people. For me, my number, I think I've spent around $300,000 on
Love it.
mastermind groups and coaching. One was 24,000, one was 30,000, one was 150,000, one was 10,000. I just joined another one a few months ago. I actively join groups because I want to learn from the best people on planet Earth on what they are doing. And I feel like I can condense time. If I can stand on the shoulders of people who have gone
Yes.
before, why would I not do that? That's humanity in a nutshell. And we've been all somewhat brainwashed, especially people. And I'm saying I'm still in my 20s. I'm 29 right now. And I started my first fund at 22 years old. I've managed funds for going on 8 years. And I'm almost 30. Most of my peers are still just getting started, trying to get one more degree, and then they'll finally feel enough to get going. It's so interesting to grab your degree from people that are amazing on earth and actually spend money on yourself. And I love what you said, balancing action and education together. It's funny how much you learn and how quickly you learn doing that. Alexis, it's been phenomenal having you on.
Thank you.
Here's a question for someone maybe starting out. They look at you, man, she just figured it all out so quick. I'm sure there was a lot of bruises, a lot of heartache along the way.
Yeah.
Maybe, obviously you persevered, you figured it out, and you're still figuring it out. I'm sure you're still going through stuff. All of us are, right? What counsel, advice would you give to somebody that's just starting out?
It's always going to come down to your relationships. If you can put yourself in the community, you can put yourself in the right room. If you can put yourself around the right people, build those relationships, nurture those relationships, take action, reflect on your action, and continue to do that cycle, it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time before you see the success that you're looking for. But you are the only person who can decide, I'm going to invest my time, money, and energy into the right rooms. You have to make that decision. No one can make that decision for you.
I love it. Stay on with me for one more second. I got one or two more. Do you have a second, Alexis? Stay on.
Yeah, I got you.
Can you just share my screen one more time? So if people if we're still live here, funlaunch.com/SAF. Affirm right now and Klarna are, I believe, working on approvals. Maybe Mason and Adam out to my office. You want to come tell me the update here, but working on them. Welcome in all y'all founding members. We're going to do an onboarding call here in just a few minutes. We'll make sure the the link is emailed to you, and we'll send it so you can join there on Zoom. We'll have you flip on your cameras. We'll talk face to face here in a few minutes. Again, you get all the bonuses today for being a founder number card, in-person event June 12th. You get the extra full single asset fund legal setup. And you get the Fund Launch platform, brand new, built today, which is shiny, brand new Fund Launch platform. I'm so excited about it. The consulting, we have 4 group coaching calls next week. We might bring on Alexis as a guest on one of those calls as well in the next week or two. You guys will be able to talk with her and see what happened there. We have professional Excel models, Fund Launch 360, and the full fund legal setup when you guys join today. All with a payment plan and 30-day money back guarantee. So with that, furthermore, you can book a call with our team over the next few days. This officially closes Monday, or if we hit 50, it looks like we might hit 50 today, which is pretty cool. So book a call with our team today. Hop on with somebody right now if you're on the fence, or if you're like, I want to talk to somebody, book a call. We'll honor that call. If you're booking and you're talking to them soon, we'll make sure you're taken care of. So again, there's the link, fundlaunch.com/single asset funds. All right, Alexis. So cool what you built. I want to ask you a question. You've primarily raised debt.
Yes.
Walk me through why you've primarily raised debt. How have you raised equity in the past or done creative finance? Do you mix? I used a slide earlier. Maybe I'll share it to frame the conversation and the answer to this question. Give me 1 second here. But the idea that, oh, where'd it go? Right here. Yeah, share that screen for me. So a mix of, you primarily have done debt where I'm talking about raising debt.
Yes.
Raising debt. And then obviously you issue debt as well. There's some people that do equity and finance and do a mix of these. Where do you think you fall the most? Are you purely debt or do you mix into some of these as well?
I would say I'm mostly in the debt space, and there's a big reason behind that also that I'm happy.
Yeah, walk me through that. Yeah.
So I had to leverage the resources that I was dealt. I think everybody has a certain set of cards that they're dealt in life. And when I started raising money from investors, it was my first time raising money from investors. It was my first time bringing other people's money into opportunity. And so it was a lot easier and convenient for me to convert investors on a thesis that you are in for a period of time and then you're out and you have a lien against an asset. This is our thesis. We have a lien against an asset. So the reason I like debt, and specifically first position debt, is because you are I'm going into a little bit of complex language here, but you're at the top of the capital stack. You have the least amount of risk with the most amount of insight into the transaction. So a lender is going to have the least amount of risk.
Pause real quick. Capital stack is just a term of who gets paid what
First.
and when. So a capital stack, meaning take a mortgage, for example. Like if you have a house, like I own a house, I've got a mortgage on it. If we had to foreclose, the first person that gets paid is the mortgage company. They're in first position. They would take the money to pay off their loan, and then I would get what's remaining as second position. Now, if I put a second position mortgage on my house, or I brought in a lender that put another lien on my house, they would be in second or third or fourth position. How a capital stack works, the first position gets paid out full. It's not like it goes, a little bit to first, a little bit to second, a little bit. That's not how it works. It's all first, then all second, and then if there's any remaining, then it goes to third position. That's why taking a third or fourth position loan is very risky, because you're banking on the fact that 1, 2, and 3 are all going to get paid fully before you get paid. So what Alexis just said there is when debt is at the top of the capital stack, meaning you get paid first, typically above equity as well. So if you're raising a $50 million fund and you're going to go buy a big apartment complex and you're going to bring in 75 million of debt and 50 million of equity for a total purchase price of $125 million. The debt is first position. It gets that 75 million has to be paid out all first, and then your equity investors are the remaining amount of what happens after that. So the debt is secured by the equity. So, sorry, I cut you off there, but that's describing what a capital stack is. So keep going, Alexis.
No, that's great. I think that is 100% on target. And when I look at equity, I look at it as it's almost like a marriage. Like you have to be on the same page. And obviously, if you have a GP LP structure, GPs are making the decision, but your LPs have to really trust in your ability to make decisions on their behalf. Same thing happens in debt, except we have so much less downside as a debt lien holder than if we were doing an equity deal where we own it and are potentially taking on debt in front of investors. So with the quick payoffs, I have the ability to provide a proof of concept very easily with debt. 6-month loans, 12-month loans, and investors can understand very quickly what we're looking to accomplish. Whereas if I raised equity for a 5-year real estate project, I might not have the investor, fans. Like, I love Alexis. I love what she's doing. Everything works well. I might not have that for 5 years. And I wanted to build momentum fast and do it with the least amount of downside. So that's why I chose the specific asset class that I'm in, which is these short-term real estate loans. It's
funny you bring that up. My first fund was in debt as well, short-term fast loans. because
Yes.
you got a track record quickly because our loans were like 2 months, 3 months long. How long are yours typically?
6 months.
6 months. Yeah. So your investors know if you're good or bad within 6 months. It doesn't take six
Absolutely.
years like venture capital does or something like that, which is pretty cool. My dad's first fund as well was a private money lending, fund.
On
Isn't that
track.
kind of crazy? It's a great way to build a track record. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Alexis, thank you so much for coming on today. Kudos to you. If people in the chat, could you guys give Alexis some love? If you want to go follow Alexis, well, what's the best way to send people to you, Alexis? Best way to follow you, find you online?
Yeah, I'm on all the platforms: LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at Alexis Morgan Invests.
Alexis Morgan Invests.
Yes.
Invest. Cool. She puts out great content online. Go follow her I follow you on Instagram, for example. Go find Alexis Morgan. Thank you so much for coming on today. Give her some love in the chat.
Thanks,
Thank you. We'll
Bridger.
talk soon, Alexis. Thank you.
Yeah.
So good to have her on. She is a rock star, guys. You guys got to go follow her and find her. Okay, share my screen one more time. Here we can answer some few questions, and then we're going to do the live onboarding call here in a minute. So, final call, and we're going to. I know people are processing through Affirm and Klarna right now, so we'll give you a minute. We'll make sure we'll give you time to make sure it's processing if you're waiting for an approval on Klarna or Affirm. But this is pretty fun, y'all. Welcome in our founding members. You guys are amazing. This is going to be an incredible journey. And I'll say this, I've joined a lot of masterminds. Generally speaking, when you open up something brand new, the founders, myself included, and/or the people, a lot of times pour extra in to make sure the first group gets tons of success and results. I've joined a number of groups, and it's just what happens because they want to then, I want to take like these 50 members. I mean, we want you guys to crush it. Like absolutely just crush it. Like, oh, I did a deal here. I did a deal. I worked with this coach and they helped me. And so that we can then say, hey, look at our all-stars. Let's do a webinar and we'll bring you on live, walk through, oh, what happened for you? What was the roadblock? What stopped you? Just like Alexis Morgan, she joined Black Card 2 years ago. And now she's on here talking about all the cool things she did over the last 2 years. We want to bring you on live as well. So we're going to pour in extra to really help make sure this thing is works and is awesome. There might be, it's a brand new platform, brand new software. There might be a little hiccup. There might be bumps. That's totally fine. We'll over help with the coaching and calls and working with me and/or our team of 4 different coaches. So you have 5 of us total. They're going to help you do single asset funds to make sure it's done the right way, which I'm pretty excited about. Furthermore, we have a lot of cool stuff we're bringing on as well. Back to the roadmap. All of you will be grandfathered in. Where is that roadmap? All of you will be grandfathered in to the down the road things that we are doing. Here's the Fund Launch roadmap. As we roll out phase 2, you'll be grandfathered in. This is with Black Card and 20 service providers we're adding on. The full Fund Launch AI and AI Builder, that should be out. Well, we'll see. I don't want to put a specific date on it, but in a matter of weeks, if not a few months. Phase 4, where you have AI agents with you and designing marketing tools, all integrating with your legal docs to launch. By that point, maybe you're launching your 2nd or 3rd deal on the platform. And then AI outbounds, potential investors, AI sources. You're going to be grandfathered into all of this process. Okay. You'll be a part of it with us. You can be the first users, the first beta test users on these to make sure it works, test them out, and work with us as we build out this product roadmap over the next, 3 to 6 months, which is pretty exciting. The world is moving pretty fast right now with AI and all the stuff going on. It's very exciting for us and our team, and we are very strategically positioned well to take over this market as the everything platform for funds. This is what makes me and Mason so excited right now. We're like, dude, we've waited so long. That's funny enough. I'll tell you a real story. We waited what was it? Man, it was probably 3 years. What is it, Mason? 4 years ago, 3.5, 4 years ago, we drew up this platform. Where's that platform again? We drew up this platform on a whiteboard like 4 years ago. And we were like, it would be so cool if we had this and this and this and this. And we said, well, it's going to take so much time and headache. And just, we're not that company yet. We're not that business yet. And we actually thought about and then about 2 years ago, we thought, wow, we should build this again. We kind of revisited it. I'm like, nah, let's wait. Let's wait for AI to get better, where we can actually use AI in this tool. And that would be like the process. Let's just wait to see what happens. Now we've waited. 2025, we believe AI is to the point where it is very useful. It's not just a fun toy. It's now useful in building out your fund, your deck, your deals, outbounding investors, outbounding like all the cool stuff that goes into a fund. It's not going to do everything, but could it do 65, 70%? Yes. And that's what we're plugging into the platform to have work with your funds. So you'll be the first users on this as founding members today. You guys are the first users on this. We gave you guys a pretty discounted price, about $7,500 for the first 50 people that joined to help us kick this thing off. And we want you to be our all-stars as we go out and build this thing with you. So with that, click the link down below. Adam and Mason, any notes for me? Like, we can pull up questions. Actually, pull up the chat for me. Yeah, let's answer a few more questions here as we keep this open. There's your Affirm and Klarna. Let me answer anything that's going on. And then Adam and Mason, yeah, just come in here if you want. Come into my room, and then let me go to this last screen. How many? 7 checking out right now. Cool. So stay on there. We're still going at 7 checking out. And where are we at? Maybe write their names down again. We can do the 10 through 20. We can write down their names. It'd be great. So pull that whiteboard out. They have a big whiteboard behind the screen here. Maybe you can show my top of the thing here, but we have a big whiteboard beyond right here, and they're holding it up, and I can read all the names of people that are joining. So they're going to write down the new names of people that just joined. So welcome in. Amazing work, Mason. Yeah, excited to see it blow it up. Not for general members, but staff members will get recordings. Okay, very cool. Yep, 4 years ago. Yeah, pretty fun. Oh, 68 people are checking out. Wow. Through Affirm and Klarna. Okay, you said 12. 68 people are checking out through Affirm and Klarna. So we're going to hit that 50 here in the next few minutes, which is awesome. Okay, keep me in the loop and write down those names of people when people join. 68 people working with Klarna and Affirm right now. So we'll see. We have the 50 founding members. We'll see who gets approved and how quickly here, and we'll get a number here. We'll make sure it's right though. If you're on the, we'll see how many people come in. I want to make sure if you got delayed or something. I know the phone numbers weren't working. We'll make sure it's right, and we'll get your number listed for you. So stay with us. You can talk to a member of my team or message us live. We're all ready right now and working with you. Other questions on the platform. Let's see. Recording links. I've taken a big leap of faith. I love it. Welcome in, Deborah. Good to have you with us. And again, you have the 30-day money back guarantee. Okay. Today, come on in, be part of the group. We're doing the onboarding call here in a few minutes. We'll onboard everyone to the platform. We'll make sure you're logged in. We'll get your numbers all set up. And everything should be looking good here. Furthermore, we have a lot of significant updates that are going to keep coming out like every week. And we're going to have you guys come and beta test and or work through stuff as we add to this platform. This is day 1, like literally phase 1. We're very, very excited for what's coming right now. It's pretty cool. As you come in, your credits and services, this will be, you'll have your $100 or maybe $200 if you're one of the people that got that in. $200 credit for the merch store will be right here. You can see all the phases and we have a referral program, other marketing materials, and other things that you guys can add in as well. The fund builder right here is the main piece that you're going to be using for your fund. So you're going to start and it will have you resume where you were. I think I've jumped around a little bit, but if I'm in phase 1, it's going to walk you through all the questions around your fund. If you don't know an answer, it looks like we might be multiple people logged into this user because I'm in a different user. I'm in Andrew's account. We'll go back here. But as you go through, it's going to walk you through all the questions you have for your fund. And you're going to answer, work with them. If you need help, obviously in AI, but also join the office hours. That's the purpose of the office hours. Like, take some notes. Like, man, I would really love some help vetting deals. Great. I'm going to hop on with Dan Pearson on his call, and I can go look up his, where it is, under events, his office hours. Oh shoot, I need to go to consulting. Here we go. Calendar for the coaches. So I'm going to go to his office hour, Dan, on private equity. We're going to look at deals, and he'll probably announce what they each week they'll do something a little different, but most of the time is going to be just helping people. It's like in college when you had office hours, you just go talk to the coaches whenever. That's the idea. So you can come talk to Dan. Dan is actively doing deals right now as a fund manager. And then Tuesday, hop on with Ben Julius. Okay, he's doing real estate for single asset funds. He's in Canada. Walk through the deals. He's working on like I don't want to say it wrong, but over $100 million single asset fund right now, Ben Julius. And he's done, I don't know, 7 to 10 in the past. That's the guy you get to come and talk to. And he's actually coming live tomorrow with us morning for day 3 of the single asset fund challenge. Isn't that kind of cool? Like, you get to come just meet with the guy every week. Every single week, you can hop on and be like, yo, Ben, okay, I've got my deal here. I'm struggling with this. Can you help me with X? Can you help me with Y? Cool, let's figure it out. And then furthermore, you can listen into other people and what questions they are asking. Sometimes it's like, I don't even know the questions to ask. Like, you know, and then you hear other people ask questions like, oh, shoot, that's a good question. It trains your brain on how to work, which is so cool. And then Wednesday, if you're a hedge fund person, if you're trading, we have Peter on. So all of my hedge fund people that are trading options or commodities or bonds or crypto, Peter's live. They just launched their full hedge fund. He's done a hedge fund incubator in the past, similar to a single asset fund, but just for hedge funds, what it's called, hedge fund incubator. Awesome. Peter comes on live. You can meet with him and talk about the markets, what's going on there. And then finally, we have a second real estate one with Dustin Gomez. You met Dustin today. Amazing dude. Dustin also is so good at relationships and people, and man, you can learn a ton from him. So you have all those right here. Join these Zoom rooms. So as you go through the incubator, you're building out your fund, take notes, bring those to the office hours, then come back, work on the fund builder. Once you're ready, you're going to go and you'll come to performance here, and you actually can go to Fund Launch 360 and or Paper OS. We're actually going to do the legal docs and launch your fund. The timeline, once you've kind of figured out your thesis and deal, it takes 2 weeks to build your single asset fund, maybe less. Have it all done. And a lot of the slowness is from regulatory agencies like filing in Delaware. You got to wait for Delaware to get back to you, get your EIN, set up your bank account, but it just goes, it goes fast. It's awesome. Yeah, Peter's on the chat right now. Peter Privian. He's right here in the chat. He's live with us. And Peter will be live tomorrow with us. So you get to meet Peter tomorrow morning. I think one of the first people I'm bringing on is Peter and Ben together to talk about single asset funds. I've emailed my question. Oh, it's a private message to us. Cool. Yeah, we'll just answer. Yeah, we can answer on the email. Oh, we got some other ones. Okay, confirmed people. What's the order here? What's the number? Is this 11? So 21 confirmed. Is that right? 20 people confirmed. 68 still working with Affirming card. That's awesome. We're going to be well over that 50. Maybe we'll expand to 50. Someone's like, please expand it. We'll see. We'll see what we hit here. We got Anne Marie. What number are they? Do you know? Is this 10, 11? But Anne Marie, Sheldon, Cleveland, Andrea, Deborah, Rami, welcome in. Good to have you guys in. I guess I don't have the numbers next to them yet. Maybe write their numbers and I can re-say them. You'll see the numbers too when you get in the platform. You'll see which number you are as well. If people are wondering what number. But Chelsea got that first one. Thomas and Jeff, 1, 2, and 3. That's pretty cool. It's like on Monsters Inc. You know, in their number, like number 2 or number 1. You know what I'm talking about on Monsters Inc. My son, we just watched Monsters Inc. the other day. He was and they like are all numbered like they're little things. Okay, if you're in California, why would you do Delaware? You have to register in California regardless. Depends on where you're at, Jonathan. I use that as an example. Most funds, though. So back to your 3 entities here. Let's see if I can share my screen. It's actually a very good question. You can see my screen, right? Okay, just leave that up. So if I go to the GPLP structure, a lot of times your management company is where you're located. So that would be in California, okay? Your general partner, limited partnership, oftentimes is in Delaware. Delaware and or people use Wyoming or Nevada, but Delaware has been the standard for years because of the securities laws and statutes that they've had for decades in Delaware. Most funds file in Delaware. And there's a lot of answers, but one of the simple answers is just because everyone knows how Delaware funds work. Your accounting team, your compliance team, your legal team, they all just know how Delaware funds work. So your GP and your limited partnership, these are in Delaware typically, and this would be in California, your management company. Does that make sense? And you don't have to do that. I'm just saying what's standard. That's just what's standard, what a lot of people do. Do you have investors waiting for the best opportunities in the newly started funds? Do you have investors waiting for the best opportunities in the newly started funds? Like, do I have investors? Maybe Mike, add to that question. We have fund launch partners where we're looking at partnering and investing in really great funds that launch. Yeah, so that's what we have. We just raised $30 million. We're trying to deploy another $22 million over the next 18 months into fund launch members funds that are awesome. Now, those are generally more blind pool funds, so not single asset funds, more like the next phase would be that, but we're not opposed to looking at some single asset funds as well. Furthermore, our team the coaching staff is willing to help on these deals as well. So you can work with them. They're an awesome team. They can help work and make sure things are done the right way, and you can talk to them and they can help you on your deal as well. Sheriff, can I delay my launch raise? Yes, I'm launching a startup in the ed tech space and don't want a conflict. I'm interested in the hedge fund track. Yeah. So what you can do is join Single Asset Funds, become one of the founding members. There, you can do this in 6 months. You can do it in 8 months. You can now. What I would tell people: come in, learn, join the office hours, hear what other people are doing, see what they're doing with their funds, learn on what's going on, and then maybe in July when you're ready, cool. Then you go through and you do the legal and you launch. Totally reasonable, totally understandable to do something like that. Oh, we got this cool side angle. Dang, look at this. I get my posture better. There we go. Cool side angle from you guys get to see my studio. That's what I'd say though. So there's no what I would tell people is get in the room, like Alexis talked about. I think there's a lot of value in being in the right room, being around the people that are doing this. They always say if you want a haircut, go hang out in the barber shop, right? If you want to, you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with. If you're someone who aspires to do a single asset fund or be a fund manager, might be a good idea to hang out with 50 other founding members who are also running their own funds, raising capital, being in the room, doing and all talking and sharing about what they're doing. Something so cool about fund launch. We've seen this, and I will imagine it will continue on in this group. We have quite a culture of sharing and helping one another and dropping in insights, what's working, how it helped me out, how I'm raising money over here. We have an amazing community at Fund Launch of people that are all doing awesome stuff together. And so I think that'll continue. These founding members, part of our onboarding call, we're going to talk about that, like the culture of like, we need to help each other. To be frank, running a fund is a lonely business. Like go tell your mother-in-law that you're going to run a fund and they're going to be like, what is a fund? Like, what are you talking about? You can share my screen again, or once you're ready, but they're going to kind of laugh you out of the room. Like, what? Like, what is this? And no, I'm doing this fun thing. It's kind of this weird, not weird, but corner of the world that a lot of people don't know about. And so, it's very nice to hang out and be around people that are also doing the same things. Yeah. Question, what about the blue sky laws and fees associated with registering in your investors in your states? Good question. I think we had a slide on this earlier. So this is blue sky filings are each time you raise money out of state, you file usually a couple $100 with a state that notifies the state that you're raising money out of there. Yeah, so included, we file all the entities, baseline fund documents, formation council, banking setup, closing support. Additional add-ons would be like Blue Sky File. We can file for you or somebody else can file. That'd be $500 per fee. If you want to do a 506C fund or credit verification or Form ADV filings, those are add-on services you can add in your single asset fund. So when you launch, depending on your state and your location, sometimes there's extra fees of filing fees and stuff like that are above and beyond. And those are just add-ons that you'd add on. But the core package of like launching your LPA, launching your entities, baseline fund docs, all your operating agreements, your summary of terms, all the stuff you need to launch is included in the single asset fund package. Yep. And there's a few add-ons here depending on what you want to do. If you want to do a larger QP parallel fund, if you want to do different things, there's add-ons here. Good question. I live in Salt Lake City. Can I come to visit or tour the office or attend an in-person meeting? Golden Goose Clark. Yeah, so for people that joined today, obviously, we're doing an event June 12th at our headquarters. That's just for the founding members of the Single Asset Funds. Furthermore, we've done a few free Fund Fridays. We probably will do another one in the future, so just look out on email and stuff. But the last 2 months, on a Friday morning we said, hey, come from 9 to noon. We're just going to talk funds. We've invited people over. We'll whiteboard stuff out, and you can come meet. So I would look out for one of those free Fund Fridays as well in the future. This event, though, is specific to founding members, the June 12th one, this one. But yeah, come to a free Fund Friday. If you're not one of the founding members, those are also available. All right, maybe scroll up on the chat for me just so I can see there's other questions here. I'll raise funds in the US, but I'm based in Canada. Can I become a founding partner and pay in a monthly installments? Yeah, Z. So if you're in Canada, one of our coaches is in Canada as well. You can join and do Klarna and or Affirm if you want to pay installments, totally fine as well. You can come do all the stuff. The legal setup is for a US domestic fund, which a lot of Canadians, it's funny, my family's from Canada. The Canadian provinces oftentimes don't work well with each other. What we've seen a lot of Canadians do is they set up their fund in the United States. And that's what and I don't want to give legal advice, but what I've seen other people do, that are in Canada that are raising money in the US. They are a Canadian citizen. They open up a US based fund in Delaware, and that's where they raise their money from. And we can totally do that for you through here. Yep. All right. We got people coming through Klarna and or Affirm. If you get approved, let us know in the chat. We'll give you some celebration. Again, people that were number 22, 33, and 44, and number 50, we're going to do an extra $200 to the merch store. I don't know. Maybe we'll do more. Who else? I don't know. Maybe we could just do everybody. Just give everyone. We had, Rami was number 10. Deborah was number 11. Andrea was number 12. 13 was Cleveland. Sheldon was 14. Anne Marie was number 15. They're getting the other numbers organized for me on the board right here. So welcome in, y'all. Can you scroll down to the new chats for me? Thank you so much. Bridger, I know you love Canada. Go Canada. I know I've been watching the Stanley Cup playoffs, man. Actually get this. So my Canadian cousin just got drafted to like I don't know again, I'm not a big hockey guy, but he got drafted to like, I think not that he was in juniors. Now it's to like I don't know, I don't know what it's called. Like in baseball, it's the farm team in Green Bay. He just got drafted yesterday, which is so cool. So kudos to him. I got some Canadian blood in me. Go Canada. Pretty fun. Our 51st state, beautiful Canada. I know my Canadians love that. It's funny. Canada right now, it's charged. People are like, I hate Trump. Some people are like, I love Trump. Some people are like, I want to be American. Other people are like, screw America. I'm never traveling there again. It's so funny. We'll see though. Go Oilers. My family's all in Alberta. Go Oilers. See if they can make it this year again. They were so close last year. USHL in Green Bay. Yeah, I think that's what he just got drafted to, which is pretty cool. So that's the wrong thing to say. 51st state, goodbye. Not Iceland. I know I was going to trigger some people with that. All my family can. It's like this big conversation all the time. It's so funny. We will see what happens. I don't control anything that goes on at the White House currently, at least. Maybe one day, but currently I do not. So we make money. I always tell people that. I am like, we've had a number of calls about politics because the last few weeks have tariffs and all this stuff going on. I'm like, guys, guess what? Me and you have no say in what happens. Like, to be frank, we have no say in what happens because we've already elected our people and they're doing whatever they do. What we do have a say on is how we can make money in whatever thing changes. If there's a new tariff here, if this moves, if this changes, lots of times when macro events move, tailwinds of capital get spewed off. And there are sometimes amazing opportunities to make money in big macro changes. So how do I position myself and my family and my community in a way that can capitalize well on big macro changes? That's what we got to focus on. And when you have a fund set up, it puts you in an amazing position to do so. Okay. If there's I can go on and on about this, but I won't. Not Iceland or Greenland. Yeah, I don't know. Dude, the world, man. You got to keep watching the news. That's one thing, man. There's a new thing every single day, which is crazy. I'm in a crypto hedge fund. I mean, the market, we have had some of the biggest swings we've ever seen in the last few months in crypto. It's been crazy seeing how much movement and capital and inflows and outflows and all these, and it's every single day watching this thing but it's fun to be a part of, man. We're in the blockchain space. Very, very cool space to be in. Bridger, is fund management the right career if you're a family guy and need that work-life balance? Please advise. Z, I would say yes. It's up to, that's a big definition of fund management, but for me and my family, it's been phenomenal. My dad has run funds. I've run funds. It's been phenomenal. Now there's the stigma, like a Wall Street investment banker that works 100 hours a week. That's different than running a fund. Now, and also there's a difference between being working for a fund and running a fund. And what I like to do is I watch what the wealthiest, smartest people on earth are doing. And the wealthiest, smartest people on earth are doing most of them are running funds. Why? They get an outsized amount of leverage. Well, let me give you an example. If you notice this trend, a lot of founders in tech, they'll sell their company for $1 billion. Like take Peter Thiel, PayPal Mafia, or whoever. They sell their company for this huge amount of money. And guess what they all go do? They all go start venture capital firms. Why? Because it is because a lot of those people still want to work. They still want to flex that muscle, but they don't need to work 100 hours a week. In a venture capital fund, a lot of times they work 10 hours a week, 15 hours a week. Some of the people, now they have teams and interns and stuff, but they have a meeting every Friday. People come and pitch to them. They have an investment committee. They decide who they're going to invest with. They do quarterly board meetings, but it's actually a really great work-life balance. It's awesome. So there's a, just, I think, watch what wealth people are doing. That's what they are doing. Now there's also times where it's very stressful and very time intensive, but so is everything. Choose your hard. It's hard to work a corporate job for 50, 30 years. It's also hard to run a business. It's hard to be married. It's also hard not being married. It's hard to be fat. It's also hard to be skinny. Just choose your hard. There's different hards about everything. And so, I think you choose your hard. You choose which path you want in life. And I try to pick paths of people that I look up to and aspire to be in certain aspects of life. And in the aspect of finance, I have certain mentors. In the aspect of fitness, I have certain mentors. In the aspect of emotional help or spiritual help, I have certain mentors. And I look up to them and try to strive to be like them and follow the path that they walked on. Yeah. Thanks for Z. There you go. Hope that's a decent answer. I'll say this as well as we're still on here live, and I know people are wrapping up, and maybe Mason, Adam, give me an update. I'll stay on live as people are getting confirmed on Klarna and or Affirm, and then we'll go do our onboarding call here in a second. I'll probably share this story tomorrow, but I'll just share a brief story here. With business and deals and all sorts of stuff. A lot of you guys know I'm a faith-based person. I believe in God. I'm not perfect at all. I just strive to be better, and I believe in God. And I'll tell you a quick story. I think, I'll just tell you the story. I was 24, 25 years old. I got invited to this guy's office. This guy had a private jet, huge office building, very successful individual, was twice my age, like this awesome dude. Brings me to his office. He sits me down. He says, Bridger, I have about $100 million portfolio right now. I want to convert it to a fund, and I want you to run it with me. And I was like, whoa, really? He's like, I want you to be my business partner. And I'm going to give you I think it was about 25 to 30% ownership. And you're going to be like the fund manager that helps run this thing. Like $100 million portfolio. I was like, holy smokes. Dream come true. This is like what you work for. I mean, like this guy was like, I'm like, oh my gosh. He's like, this is a dream come true. I come home, I tell my wife, I'm like, honey, this is awesome. Like we struck it, like here we are, like we're high-fiving. And I'm like, this is sweet. So we're going to do this thing. Like it sounds awesome. And I'm like, let's pray about it. I think personally, I believe in God, and I believe that God cares about every aspect of our lives. And because there's ripple effects in everything you do, what career you have, who you talk to, what you say to your kids, there's ripple effects in everything. And so I was like, let's pray over this. This is a big decision. So we pray about it. And God does not always talk to me like ever. Like, you know what I mean? Like God's got busy stuff to do, but sometimes he talks to little old Bridger. Okay. This was one of the moments. And we both pray and we both feel a distinct feeling like a no, like do not do this. And I'm like, honey, do you feel that? She's like, yeah, like we should not do this. We both had a just bad feeling. And I'm like, okay, we're not going to do it. Like if God is ever going to talk to me, I'm going to listen. I've tried to train myself. Like if God ever speaks to me, I am listening. You know what I'm saying? My prayers do not always get answered, but when they do, I'm going to follow. And so I called the guy the next day. I said, hey, I'm sorry. Just for personal reasons, I just don't feel good about it. I just can't take this opportunity. I'm sorry. And he was kind of like, okay, sounds good. You're dead to me. Like, good luck with your life. Like you're missing out on the biggest opportunity ever. I'm like, I know. So he's just like, bam, hangs up. See you later, dude. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess we'll see. I had no reason. 4 weeks later, I get another phone call from a different guy. I go to his office, big skyscraper. I go to his beautiful beautiful office at the top. He then gives me like the same pitch. And it's so funny. He's like, we're building the fund. I want you to be the fund manager. And this guy, he's twice my age. He drives a Ferrari, very wealthy individual. I was like, man, this guy's awesome. Same story. I'm like, I'm like, that's why we said no to the first one, because this one's better. I come back to my wife. I'm like, should we do this? This sounds awesome. We're like, let's pray about it. We pray about it again. Guess what the answer is? The answer is no. Don't, clear as day. Like, do not do this. And I was kind of pushed back. I'm like, is this just me? Like, what's going on here? Like, why? You know, like, why did I keep giving, like, anyways, but I said, I'm like, I served a 2-year church mission. Like, I've tried to be in tune with the Spirit, you know. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is God. Like, this is different than before. So I said, no, we're not going to do it. So I just tell the guy, no, same thing. And I had no rationale. And I just go live my life. We build Fund Launch. I'm running my other stuff. A year goes by, 2 years go by, 3 years go by, 4 years go by. 4.5 years go by, nothing. And then I look on the news. The first guy got raided by the FBI, was running a huge Ponzi scheme, stealing tons of investors' money. Huge blow up. They're getting indicted. Like, everything's going down, like, really, really bad. Crazy. Second guy, allegedly running a $500 million Ponzi scheme. These are 2 separate business deals. And I thought back to that prayer I'd said 4 years earlier with me and my wife. And I was like, wow. I would have had no clue. Furthermore, if I was drug into that right now, like literally it would have been this last year, that would have ruined my career. That's like career ending. You know, if you're attached to like embezzlement, Ponzi scheme, FBI, like, you're done, dude. Like, especially in this business. And me and my wife knelt down that night and we said the most heartfelt prayer ever. Like, thank you, God, for answering little old Bridger's prayer and keeping us away from that. And I share that story because I'm not perfect. I strive to be good. I strive to follow God. I strive to do all these things. And I think it's important to pray over business decisions. I think it's important to pray over who you partner with, who you work with, who you hire, who you fire. You'd be surprised how much I pray over things. Now, a lot of times I don't get an answer, but sometimes I do. And I'd encourage people in this group, invite God to be in your life a little bit more. Changes your family, changes your kids, it changes how you work, it changes how you act and behave. And I think in 2025, we live in a pretty crazy time in the world. It's one of the best times ever to be alive. Like, it is literally, there's never been a better time to be alive as an entrepreneur than 2025. There is so much opportunity right now. Like, think back to our ancestors, like the 1920s. The opportunities they had to start businesses and the opportunities we have now to start businesses. Like, it is not even close. We have YouTube. We have courses like this. We have live webinars, calls. We have a phone that we can pick up and call people. It's like crazy. It's one of the best times to be alive. At the same time, it's one of the most terrifying times to be alive. And we live in this perma crisis. There's always a crisis. There's always something going on. I love the quote, like, I don't think humans are meant to know every crisis that's going on in the world, but we do. You go on Twitter, we know about a bomb that drops around the world like in 10 seconds. And then there's a protest and there's somebody over here arguing, like, and I just think more people need to tap into their spiritual side in God. So with that, you guys are amazing. Thanks for coming on today. We're going to do our onboarding call here in just a few minutes. So look out for a link. It's going to be a private Zoom room. Bring your cameras and you guys can talk face to face. We can answer questions, get you on board. I'll have my team live as well. Thank you so much. How do you pray? That's a conversation for another day, but nothing too special. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints. You can go to their website, or I don't know, come unto Christ.org. I'm a Christian. Come unto Christ.org, and they'll show you all about praying and at least stuff that's worked for me and stuff that worked for them. So find something that works for you. You guys are amazing. Thanks so much. If today impacted you at all, you can take a little screenshot or a little picture, tag me on Instagram, Bridger_Pennington. I'll repost you. And be like, what's up? Tomorrow we're starting at the same time, same place. We're going to be going day 3. We have 2 more guests coming on tomorrow. I think we're going to call on more deals tomorrow. We're going to go deeper on capital raising tomorrow as well. Should be pretty fun. For my founding members, welcome on in. Do we have some more stuff I should read right here? Okay. Welcome in, y'all. If you're having trouble, again, send me an email, bridger@fundlaunch.com. My team is live right now. They can answer the phone number and or talk to you live right now. Make sure everything's going. Onboarding call for people that are the 50 founding members. What should I tell them? Are we sending them an email? Okay, check your email. We're going to start here. What time is it? Let's do a 15-minute break. We'll start at 2:30 my time, or whatever time that is for you, 4:30 Eastern. Let's start in 15 minutes on Zoom. So 16, I guess 15 minutes now. we'll do that. So look out for an email 15 minutes from now. We'll be live. My team will be live. We'll onboard. We get to know each other a little bit, and we'll go from there. All right, y'all. See you in a few minutes. Welcome on my founding members. First 50. You guys are amazing. And Bridger at funlaunch.com if you have any questions or need help. One last time, pull up my slide. If you want to join today, I don't know the number where we're at. I know people are pending checkout, so I think it's still open. It's still live. As far as I'm concerned, it's still live. If you're still working through it, we'll let you in. Even if it goes to 51 or 52 people, that's totally fine. We can extend it a little bit if you're still working through checkout. I know people got delayed a little bit. $7,500. You can have payment plans. You get the Fund Launch platform. You get all the group coaching calls, consulting, professional Excel models, Fund Launch 360, full fund legal setup, and bonus founding members get $100 credit to the merch store. And where is it? Right here. 30-day money back guarantee. Today's not a yes or no. Today's a maybe. And bonus, you get onboarding. The call we're going to do in 15 minutes, numbered founder cars, in-person event June 12th at our headquarters, and an extra fund. You don't get to launch one, but 2 single asset funds. Whew, with that, y'all are amazing. I'll see you guys that just joined in 15 minutes. And for people that didn't join, God bless you. Go do good in the world. Go call your grandma or call your dad. Connect with people around you. Be a good person. Be a good human. Go help people around you. And we'll see you tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Mountain. That's 1 p.m. Eastern. See y'all later. Bye-bye.